Chapter 49:11. The Fiend-Een race members began to set up their joint attack formations. 7-man joint attack formations, 9-man joint attack formations, 12-man joint attack formations, all the way up to 21 joint attack formations. The living beings of the Forbidden Lands have an astonishing foundation. So many joint attack formations. In the distance, Lu Ming and Bubble stood in the dark, observing the Fiend-Een race members' reactions. Just over 2,000 Fiend-Een race members had set up close to 30 joint attack formations. Of course, most of them were 7-man or 9-man joint attack formations, but this was already shocking enough. When 7 ordinary 9th-level Divine Masters set up a 7-man joint attack formation, their battle prowess would be comparable to that of the strongest Heavenly Lords. A 9-man joint attack formation was even stronger. If all the people setting up the formation were peak Divine Masters, a 9-man joint attack formation would be comparable to several experts on the same level as the strongest Lord of Heaven. Not to mention the even stronger 12-man or 15-man joint attack formations. However, Lu Ming did not care about these joint attack arrays at all. The only thing that concerned Lu Ming and posed a threat to Lu Ming was the 21-man joint attack formation. There are actually 2 21-man joint attack formations, Lu Ming muttered in his heart. He was very shocked. When the Fiend-Een race had attacked him earlier, they had only deployed 2 21-man joint attack formations to attack him. Lu Ming had thought that there would only be 2 21-man joint attack formations among the 2,000 Fiend-Een race members. He hadn't expected that there would be 3 of them. There was still one that hadn't been set up. Lu Ming guessed that the Fiend-Een race members were most likely trying to hide their strength. After all, there was a lot of competition on the island right now. A hidden strength could play a decisive role at a critical moment. But now, the Fiend-Een race members couldn't care less about hiding their strength. If they continued to hide, they might be secretly killed by Lu Ming. Many combined attack arrays condensed Een Fiend Ghost Kings of different sizes. They surveyed the surroundings. As long as Lu Ming appeared, they would give him a thunderous blow. But how could Lu Ming appear now? They can't keep defending in formation. Their strength will be exhausted. When their strength is exhausted, the formation will no longer be able to be maintained. That will be the time for us to strike. Lu Ming and Bubble communicated in secret. Time ticked by, but Lu Ming didn't appear. The Fiend-Een race members setting up the formation couldn't hold on much longer. This Lu Ming must be waiting for us to lose the formation to launch a sneak attack. Damn it, Gaishak was very smart. How could he not know what Lu Ming was thinking? Disperse the formation and gather together to defend. Remember, it's a 21-man combined attack formation. Hide in the middle. The Fiend-Een race members of the Fiend-Een race heard Fiend-Een race members. The Fiend-Een race, the formation, the Fiend-Een race, the Fiend-Een race formed-Een race. How naive of them to think of using this method to stop me. Don't they know that space-time power can ignore space? Bubble chuckled. Then the space-time power enveloped Lu Ming and himself. In a flash, he charged towards the Fiend-Een race members. The Fiend-Een race members forming a circle might be useful to others, but it was useless to living beings who were proficient in space-time power. Lu Ming and Bubble appeared silently above the Fiend-Een race members. The Battle God's spear stabbed out, and 3 spear radiances shot out towards 3 Fiend-Een race members. These 3 Fiend-Een race members were part of another 21 joint attack formation. Lu Ming, you're courting death. Gaishak had been hovering in the sky. Wisps of Fiend-Een chi seeped into the void as he observed every movement in the surroundings. Before Lu Ming made his move, Gaishak hadn't sensed it. However, once Lu Ming made his move, the minute energy fluctuations were immediately detected by Gaishak. Gaishak waved the black banner. 9 ferocious evil spirits roared as they charged towards Lu Ming. However, they were still one step too slow. Lu Ming used the sky-splitting form. 3 spear radiances were faster than flowing light. The 3 Fiend-Een race members he had chosen were only ordinary peak Almighty Masters. How could they dodge? The 3 spear radiances pierced through and killed the 3 Fiend-Een race members. As for Lu Ming and Bubbles, They were already tens of thousands of miles away at lightning speed. It's a pity that I only got one skull this time. However, it's enough. Lu Ming opened his palm. There was a pitch-black skull in his palm. He had wanted to take all three, but Gaishak had acted too quickly. There was no time, so he had only taken one. However, taking one was enough. The 21-joint attack formation was no longer perfect. Even if he found others to replace them, he could only set up a 21-joint attack formation. Lu Ming was no longer afraid of the imperfect 21-people combined attack array. This way, two of the Fiend-In race's 21-joint attack formations had been destroyed by Lu Ming and Bubble. The other Fiend-In race members were so frightened that they continued to set up their formations as though they were facing a great enemy. Damn it. Lu Ming, get out here. Get out here if you can and fight fair and square. Gaishak kept roaring. However, Lu Ming couldn't be bothered with him. Fight fair and square? Wasn't it laughable that the other party had used their joint attack formations to surround him and fight fair and square? How comfortable would it be to hide in the dark and launch a sneak attack? When the last 21 joint attack formation of the Fiend-In race was destroyed, Lu Ming wouldn't be afraid no matter how many people there were. He now had a top-grade source-level divine weapon armor. Unless they were at the same level as him, it would be very difficult to break through his defense. No matter how many people there were, it would be useless. After roaring for a while, Gaishak seemed to know that Lu Ming wouldn't show up. He had no choice but to give up. Go, let's leave this place first. Gaishak roared and retreated in another direction with his men. He had no choice. No matter how unwilling he was, he could only leave first. If he continued to stay here, his joint attack formations would be destroyed by Lu Ming. Lu Ming was too difficult to deal with when combined with the power of time and space. I must find a chance to kill this Lu Ming. Otherwise, the threat is too great. Gaishak kept roaring in his heart. Thinking of leaving? How decisive. Lu Ming's eyes flashed and he quickly followed with Bubbles. However, the Fiend-In race had been retreating in formation. Lu Ming didn't find a chance to attack. Of course, he could kill those Fiend-In race members who couldn't form formations. However, it wouldn't be effective to kill more or less of these Fiend-In race members. Instead, he would expose himself. It wasn't worth it. That is, after following for a while, Lu Ming's eyes suddenly narrowed. That was because there were many figures rushing in their direction. Fiend-In chi filled the air. They were also Fiend-In race members and there were a shocking number of them. There were almost 2,000 of them. There are so many Fiend-In race members. It seems that many of them have awakened during this period. Lu Ming muttered with a grave expression. Chapter 49:12. Be careful, Infernal Fiend King. There's someone beside Lu Ming who's proficient in the power of spacetime. They're working together to launch sneak attacks. Be careful, he might break your combined attack formation. Gaishak shouted. Among the baleful Een beings behind him, there was a baleful Een being who looked to be in his 30s. His aura was the most terrifying. He was Infernal Fiend King. Set up the formation. Infernal Fiend King immediately ordered. The baleful Een beings under him immediately began to set up the formation. There were 2 combined attack formations of 21 people and some other combined attack formations. They formed baleful Een ghost kings that patrolled the area. Gaishak, looks like you've suffered a great loss. Infernal Fiend King said. He stood in the air and looked around. His powerful baleful Een chi seeped into the void like a spider web to capture Lu Ming's movements. Another terrifying expert. Lu Ming's expression was grave. This Infernal Fiend King was definitely in existence at the same level as Gaishak. The strength of the creatures in the Forbidden Lands was truly terrifying. Not only did they have many combined attack formations, but they also had a shocking number of terrifying experts. In the era where the origin did not appear, their combat strength was far above the Heavenly Human Tribe, Quasi-Saint Tribe, Evil Demons, and Heaven Destroyer. After all, the creatures in the Forbidden Lands were already a Forbidden Lands in the last era of the Eldritch Continent. Their foundation was too profound. Although the Heavenly Human Tribe and Evil Demons were also from the last era, they were only slaves of the Human Tribe. Their foundation was far from comparable to the creatures in the Forbidden Lands. Brother Lu Ming, what do you plan to do now? Continue to attack? Bubbles asked. No. Lu Ming shook his head and said, there are 2 invincible almighty existences. In addition, there are more than 10 existences who are comparable to the former king's envoy. If we attack and get surrounded, it will be difficult for us to escape. 2 invincible divine masters were enough to threaten Lu Ming's life. Furthermore, there were more than a dozen existences comparable to the Guangqian royal envoy. Although it would be difficult for powerhouses of this level to cause any substantial harm to Lu Ming, the sheer number of them was enough to interfere with his movements. In other words, it was enough to keep him occupied. Once he was tied down and the 2 invincible divine masters attacked, Lu Ming would be in grave danger. Not to mention, there were so many joint attack formations. Let's observe them secretly and see where they're going. Lu Ming continued. After a while, they did not find any traces of Lu Ming. Gaishak and the Infernal Spirit King discussed for a while before leading a large group of baleful Yin beings towards the original meridian. They set up camp around the meridians. Gaishak and Infernal Fiend King were guarding the 2 sides. If there were any unusual movements, they would be able to provide support in an instant and form a joint attack. This gave Lu Ming no chance to make a move. Rumble. At this moment, the meridian shook violently. The intensity of the tremors was far greater than before. A giant fissure appeared on the island and large amounts of seawater poured in. However, the seawater was flushed out by the heavenly paradise divine light from the depths of the meridian and evaporated into mist. With the tremors, large amounts of immortal crystals and immortal stones flew out. The baleful Yin beings immediately attacked. There were nearly 4,000 of them, all of them above the divine master realm. As they attacked together, baleful Yin Qi spread and swept in all directions, taking away all the immortal crystals and immortal stones. Lu Ming even saw quite a number of divine herbs flying out. Most of them were main divine herbs. However, Lu Ming also saw a stalk of source-level divine herb. All of them fell into the hands of the evil Yin clan. Lu Ming found it a pity, but now was not the time to act. At this moment, a commotion broke out among the baleful Yin beings. It's a top-origin grade divine herb. Don't let it get away. Many baleful Yin people roared. Their baleful Yin Qi filled the air, forming many giant hands or interweaving into many giant nets, enveloping a certain area. Swish! A streak of light suddenly shot out of that area with astonishing speed. A top-origin grade divine herb. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and he immediately looked in that direction. A divine herb in the shape of a lingji mushroom with roots like feet shot into the distance like a streak of light. It really is a top-origin grade divine herb. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Clearly, this top-origin grade divine herb had rushed out from the depths of the meridian. I can't miss it. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. A origin grade divine herb of this level was absolutely precious. A peak divine master could use it to break through to the reciprocity realm. Lu Ming's group had obtained one from the meridian with the 4 statues. That top origin grade divine herb had pretended to be a heavenly paradise divine beast and scared off the Yi immortal. In the end, it had fallen into Lu Ming's hands and was now not obediently staying in the primitive ring. In that Qi meridian, Lu Ming only discovered one stalk of source-level divine medicine of this level. It was very likely that there was only one origin grade divine herb in the entire meridian. The origin grade divine herb of this level was no different from a living being. It could even cultivate on its own and complete its evolution. Even 100 ordinary origin grade divine herbs wouldn't be able to give birth to a origin grade divine herb of this level. The baleful Yin beings were extremely tempted by such a top origin grade divine herb and they all chased after it. Gaishak and the Infernal Fiend King were the fastest as they chased after the top origin grade divine herb. They released a large amount of baleful Yin Qi to surround it. However, the speed of a origin grade divine herb of this level was extremely shocking. Back in the origin grade divine mountain, they had discovered a few origin grade divine herbs, but whether it was the quasi-immortal tribe, the heavenly human tribe, or Lu Ming's group, none of them had been able to catch them. The previous origin grade divine herb was careless and had transformed into a heavenly abode, thinking that it had scared Lu Ming and the others. In the end, it had approached the Chaos Ring and was captured by Lu Ming, Dandan, and Bubbles. The origin grade divine herb, which looked like a Ganoderma lucidum, flashed a few times and shuttled through the void, avoiding Gaishak and the Infernal Fiend King's attacks as it rapidly moved forward. Everyone, get into formation and be on guard. The king of the evil ectoplasm shouted. His body did not stop as he chased after the top origin grade divine herb. The other baleful Een beings got into formation. Even at this time, they were still worried about Lu Ming's sneak attack and were on guard. Initially, Lu Ming really had this intention. He wanted to take the opportunity to destroy the other party's joint attack array. However, upon seeing this, he knew that there was no chance. Hence, he did not make a move. Instead, he chased in the direction where the top-notch source-level divine medicine had escaped. Gaishak and the Infernal Fiend King chased after it. The baleful Een beings were known for their speed. No matter how fast the origin grade divine herb was, it couldn't shake them off. At this rate, they would catch up to it sooner or later. Lu Ming's eyes flickered as he pondered over how to snatch the origin grade divine herb from Gaishak and the Infernal Fiend King. Just like that, he crossed a large distance in the blink of an eye. It's the primordial light race. Suddenly, Lu Ming's eyes flickered. A large number of figures appeared in front of him. Their hair was fluttering in the wind. Who else could it be but the primordial light race? Chapter 49:13. Lu Ming and the others, who had been chasing after the top-notch source-grade divine medicine for a long time, seemed to have reached the vicinity of another meridian and encountered a large number of primordial light tribe members. Lu Ming glanced over and realized that there were at least 3,000 primordial light tribe members. The total number of people that Yuan Baji and Yuan Jiuji had brought with them had only been a few hundred. Furthermore, Lu Ming immediately saw that Yuan Baji and Yuan Jiuji were among this group of people. However, the two of them were standing respectfully beside the other two youths. They no longer had the arrogant aura that they had used to have. Who's there? It's a top-notch source-grade divine medicine. The members of the Primordial Light Tribe also noticed the top-notch source-grade sacred medicine immediately. Their eyes were burning with passion. A top-notch source-grade divine medicine was priceless and couldn't be measured by immortal stones. Fifth brother, sixth brother, it's the malevolent Een tribe. Yuan Jiuji, who was in the Primordial Light Tribe, said softly. Who cares who it is? It's a top-notch source-grade divine medicine. Since we have encountered it, we can't miss it. Attack and surround the divine medicine. A young Primordial Light Tribe member shouted. His voice reverberated throughout the area. This person was Yuan Jiuji and Yuan Baji's fifth brother. His name was Yuan Wuji. Following Yuan Wuji's order, all the members of the Primordial Light Tribe made their move. Countless beams of light shot out from their heads and rapidly grew in length. They intertwined in the air and formed an inescapable net that enveloped the top-grade source-grade divine medicine. The source-grade divine medicine immediately changed direction and rushed in another direction. However, a large number of beams of light also appeared in that direction. More than 3,000 Primordial Light Tribe members made their move together, and the beams of light covered a large area. No matter which direction the source-grade divine medicine rushed in, it was useless. This source-grade divine medicine belongs to the malevolent Een tribe. Get out of my way, Primordial Light Tribe members. Gaishak shouted as he waved his black banner. 9 malevolent evil spirits rushed towards the Primordial Light Tribe members in an attempt to break the inescapable net formed by the beams of light. At the same time, Infernal Fiend Lord also made his move, unleashing a terrifying attack. But at that moment, 2 silhouettes appeared in front of Mr. Evil Ectoplasm and Mr. Evil Ectoplasm. Their bodies were like rays of light. They continuously released a dozen rays of light which blocked Mr. Evil Ectoplasm and Mr. Evil Ectoplasm's attacks. One was Yuan Wuji, and the other was Yuan Liuji. The Primordial Light Tribe had 9 great princes, each more powerful than the last. Every one of them was a stunning genius. Relatively speaking, the 3 people after the 7th, 8th, and 9th were the least talented. Since the source-grade elixir has come to us, it's ours. Please leave, said Yifuten. Yuan Wuji sneered. Bullshit. Yuan Wuji, get out of my way. Gaishak roared as he continuously waved the black banner and launched terrifying attacks. However, they were all blocked by Yuan Wuji. On the other side, Infernal Fiend King was also blocked by Yuan Liuji. This is not good. If this continues, the source-grade sacred medicine will fall into the hands of the primordial light tribe. Lu Ming's face darkened. He didn't want to see the source-grade sacred medicine fall into the hands of either side. Lu Ming and Bubbles silently appeared not far from the inescapable net. Then, they executed the sky-breaking form and stabbed their spear with all their might. A huge spear radiance burst forth and pierced the intertwining light strands. Rumble! The light strands trembled violently before exploding one after another. In the end, a huge gap was created. We're in the wrong direction. Through the gap, Lu Ming could see that the source-grade sacred medicine was in another direction. It was still quite far away, so it was too late for him to seize the opportunity to rush out of the gap. Only by creating a gap near the source-grade sacred medicine could the source-grade sacred medicine take the opportunity to rush out. However, Lu Ming's move was discovered by the primordial light tribe. It's Lu Ming. Damn it. Set up the array and kill him. Yuan Baji and Yuan Jiuji shouted angrily. Suddenly, the primordial light tribe's figures flashed and two 21 people combined attack arrays were set up. A saber and a sword slashed toward Lu Ming. The bubble enveloped Lu Ming with the power of time and space. In a flash, they were far away. They avoided the two combined attack arrays and appeared on the other side. They weren't far from the source-grade sacred medicine on the other side. Boom! Lu Ming thrusted his spear again, piercing the defensive wall that was intertwined with light beams and hair, piercing a big hole in this area. The source-grade sacred medicine inside seized the opportunity and rushed out. Bubbles, do it? Lu Ming shouted. This was the best time to make a move. He would let Bubbles use the power of time and space to take the source-grade sacred medicine. Leave it to me. Oh no, be careful. Bubbles suddenly shouted. A saber and a sword slashed toward Lu Ming from both sides with terrifying power. It was the 21 people combined attack array of the primordial light tribe. The combined attack array of the primordial light tribe's combined attack array was very powerful and fast. This had something to do with the special attributes of the primordial light tribe. The sword chi and saber radiance surged, making it difficult for Bubbles' power of time and space to reach the source-grade sacred medicine. The source-grade sacred medicine took the opportunity to rush into the distance. Lu Ming, on the other hand, used the primeval style and the heaven-breaking style to block the combined attack of the saber and sword. Let's go! Lu Ming bellowed. Seizing the opportunity, Bubbles brought Lu Ming along and disappeared in a flash. They appeared thousands of miles away and dashed toward the stalk of source-level divine herb. After them. That's Lu Ming. Gaishak, Yuan Wuji and the others roared and stopped fighting. They rushed toward Lu Ming and the source-grade sacred medicine. Lu Ming pushed his speed to the limit. With Bubbles' help, his speed was even faster than Gaishak and the others. He even surpassed the source-grade sacred medicine. He was getting closer and closer to the source-grade sacred medicine. It wouldn't take long for him to catch up. Right at this moment, a sudden change occurred. In front of the source-grade divine herb, a light barrier suddenly appeared and enveloped the source-grade divine herb. This light shield was as big as a bowl. It was transparent and huge. It suddenly appeared in front of the source-grade sacred medicine and it was too late for it to dodge. With a clang, the source-grade sacred medicine was enveloped by the light shield. The source-grade sacred medicine crashed into the light shield, but it didn't budge. Although the source-grade sacred medicine's speed was very fast, its offensive power was very ordinary. It wasn't proportional to its speed at all. After the light shield enveloped the source-grade sacred medicine, it trembled slightly and tried to fly away. Bubbles used the power of time and space to control the light shield, but the light shield shook and broke the power of time and space. Boom! Lu Ming struck out with his palm. A huge palm formed and pressed down on the light shield like a mountain, suppressing it and making it difficult for it to fly away. In the next moment, a figure appeared above the light shield. Ye Immortal! Chapter 49:14. Ye Immortal appeared above the light barrier. It was obvious that the light barrier had been created by Ye Immortal. No one knew if Ye Immortal was right in front of them, or if he had been hiding in the dark, waiting for an opportunity to strike. Upon seeing Ye Immortal, Lu Ming thrust out his spear without hesitation. Swish! An incomparably sharp spear light pierced through the void and pierced towards Yi Wuxiu. Its speed was shockingly fast. Ye Immortal had no choice but to block the attack. He slashed out with his sword, and a star appeared in the air. When it collided with the spear light, it exploded, creating a destructive force. Lu Ming's spear light was blocked. The battle god's spear buzzed, and Ye Immortal's figure was jolted back several steps. Lu Ming stepped into the air and charged towards Ye Immortal. He thrust out his palm, and a continent was formed. Sword of the Heavens, Destruction of the Sun. Ye Immortal continued to execute his Genesis technique. A great sun appeared, and endless sword light appeared. It pierced through the air and resisted Lu Ming's desolation style. Not only that, but many sword lights pierced towards Lu Ming and Bubbles. Bubbles, enter the desolation ring first. Lu Ming activated the desolation ring, and Bubbles' figure disappeared into the desolation ring in a flash. Although Bubble had reached the 9th tier Divine Master realm and was much stronger than before, there was still a huge gap between it and an existence like Yi Wuxiu. In the face of Yi Wuxiu's attack, it could not block it at all. Lu Ming had to split his attention to protect it. Lu Ming had to go all out against an expert of the same level as Ye Immortal. He couldn't afford to be distracted. Hence, letting Bubbles enter the desolation ring was the best choice. After Bubbles entered the desolation ring, Lu Ming went all out and exchanged a few blows with Ye Immortal. Gaishak, the Infernal Fiend King, and Yuan Lu Jioji were about to arrive. Lu Ming and Ye Immortal were getting a little anxious. By the time those people arrived, Lu Ming and Ye Immortal would not be able to get their hands on the source-grade elixir. At this moment, Ye Immortal suddenly shouted, "Lu Ming, don't you want your friend's head anymore?" As soon as he said those words, he waved his hand, and the dozen or so heads flew into the distance. At the same time, there were more than 10 streams of energy attacking the heads. If they were hit, it was obvious that these heads would definitely explode. It's them. At the sight of the dozen heads, Lu Ming's heart trembled wildly. Lu Ming recognized the dozen or so heads. They were clearly the dozen or so experts from the Heaven Exterminating Army. Some of them were even very familiar with Lu Ming. Previously, when Lu Ming and Heaven Destroyer parted ways, these people were clearly still alive. There was only one explanation. After Lu Ming and the others left, Heaven Destroyer's people encountered Ye Immortal. Given Ye Immortal's combat strength, encountering Heaven Destroyer, there was no time to think. Lu Ming dashed out and dashed toward the dozen heads. At the same time, he waved the War God Spear and pierced out more than a dozen spear gleams, crushing the force of Yi Wuxiu's attack. Thereafter, the taboo force swirled and he grabbed the dozen heads in his hands. It was real. It was not an illusion. This meant that Heaven Destroyer had really encountered Ye Immortal. After luring Lu Ming away with the dozen or so heads, Ye Immortal grabbed the light shield with all his might. The light shield quickly shrank and was put away by Ye Immortal, including the source-level elixir inside. After putting away the source-level elixir, Ye Immortal did not continue to attack. Instead, he quickly retreated. "Ye Immortal, don't go!" Lu Ming roared and quickly chased after him. "Lu Ming, if I were you, I would leave this place and collect the corpses of Heaven Destroyer's people." Ye Immortal sneered. Lu Ming's expression turned ugly. His heart kept sinking. Could it be that Ye Immortal had really eliminated Heaven Destroyer's people? Sush. Several terrifying attacks came from behind Lu Ming. They were Gaishak, Lord of the Underworld, Yuan Wuji, Yuan Liuji, and the others. As soon as they got close, they immediately attacked. Regardless of whether Lu Ming had the source-level elixir or not, Lu Ming was still on their kill list. They would attack Lu Ming the moment they saw him. The 4 people behind were all terrifying experts. They were invincible divine masters and were at the same level as Lu Ming. When the four of them attacked together, Lu Ming did not dare to be careless even though he was some distance away. He could only defend with all his might. Boom, boom, boom. After a series of explosions, Lu Ming's body shook violently and he was sent flying. Even with the protection of the top-grade source-level elixir, Lu Ming felt the blood in his body churning. "Leave Lu Ming to me. You go after the source-level elixir," Yuan Wuji said to Yuan Liuji. Yuan Liuji nodded and chased after Yi Immortal. As for Yuan Wuji, he continued to attack Lu Ming. Gaishak and Lord of the Underworld looked at each other. Then, Lord of the Underworld continued to chase after Yi Immortal while Gaishak went after Lu Ming. Lu Ming had killed many of Gaishak's subordinates and destroyed the two 21-man combined attack arrays. Gaishak wanted to kill Lu Ming very badly. As long as he killed Lu Ming, he could take back the combined attack array carrier that Lu Ming had. His 21-man combined attack array could be perfected. That was why he gave up on Yi Immortal and attacked Lu Ming. Lu Ming did not continue to fight. Instead, he used his movement technique and retreated in another direction. Lu Ming knew that it would be too difficult to take the source-level elixir from Yi Immortal. Moreover, his mind was filled with the Heaven Destroyer. It was certain that the Heaven Destroyer had encountered the Yi Immortal, but what had happened? Had Lion, Tang Jian, Gu Changfeng, and the others also died at the hands of Yi Immortal? Lu Ming was in no mood to continue fighting. He only wanted to shake off Yuan Wuji and Lord of the Underworld so that he could investigate the Heaven Destroyer's situation. However, it was not that easy to shake off two people of the same level. In the end, Lu Ming took a blow from the Nether Spirit King head-on. With the help of the blow, he flew out of the encirclement of the Nether Spirit King and Yuan Wuji. However, Lu Ming also paid a price. He spat out a few mouthfuls of blood and was severely injured. After all, it was difficult to block all the attacks of an invincible almighty even with a top-notch source-level weapon. However, things were easier now that he had broken out of the encirclement. Bubbles appeared from the Chaos Ring in time and enveloped Lu Ming with her space-time power. Lu Ming's speed increased tremendously and he surpassed Yuan Wuji and Lord of the Underworld. After a while, Lu Ming successfully shook off Yuan Wuji and Lord of the Underworld and arrived at a more remote place. Lu Ming and Bubbles entered the Chaos Ring and told them about the Heaven Destroyer's possible encounter with the Yi Immortal. How did this happen? Tang Jun's face was pale. Among them, Tang Jun was the one who had the deepest relationship with the Heaven Destroyer. Although Xian Yanqing was also a reincarnation, his memory and personality were mainly Xian Yanqing's. Although they had the same memories, they were still different from Tang Jun in terms of emotions. Don't panic. What Yi Wuxiu said might not be true. Maybe he did encounter it and some of them died, but not all of them died. Maybe Yi Wuxiu only killed 10 or so people. Gu Mo comforted him. Chapter 49:15. Although Gu Mo's words made sense, everyone's hearts were still heavy. Yi Immortal's combat strength was too strong. He was already at the level of an invincible divine master. Even the strongest Lord of Heaven would not be able to withstand a single blow from him. Although Heaven Destroyer and evil demons had the advantage in numbers, their top experts were not in their best condition. For example, Gu Changfeng had yet to recover from his serious injuries. As for Zi Xian, she had encountered difficulties in fusing with the ancestral demon blood crystal. She did not know what would happen to her. Furthermore, they lacked a joint attack array. Against Yi Immortal, they would not stand a chance. Let's hurry back and find out what the situation is like. Lu Ming said. That's right. There's no time to lose. Let's set off immediately. Tang Jun said. Wait a minute. I don't think there's a need for all of us to rush back. Gumo said. What do you mean? Tang Jun looked at Gumo. Heaven Destroyer has encountered Yi Immortal. It's useless even if we rush back now. Our purpose of rushing back is to confirm their safety. In that case, we don't need so many people to go back. We only need one person to go back and check on the situation. Gumo said. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. He agreed with Gumo's suggestion. The Purple Firmament Immortal Kingdom had reached a critical juncture. The 9 meridians could collapse at any time. The ancient city's array formation could also collapse at any time. Once they missed it, they would miss out on a heaven-defying opportunity. Most importantly, it would be useless even if they all rushed back. What had happened could not be changed. How about this? I'll rush back and check on them. With my speed, I can come back quickly. Bubbles said. All right, let's do that. Bubbles, you have to be careful. In the end, Lu Ming nodded. Bubbles controlled the power of time and space. In terms of speed, no one present was faster than her. Moreover, with the power of time and space, her life-saving ability was unparalleled. Even if she encountered a strong enemy, she could easily retreat. It could be said that no one present was more suitable than Bubbles. Then I'll take my leave. As soon as Bubbles' voice rang out, her figure vanished without a trace. We just have to wait for news nearby. I believe that they are blessed by the heavens and will be fine. Lu Ming comforted everyone. Then, they left the place and came to the vicinity of another meridian. There were 9 meridians below the island. It was impossible for the creatures of the Forbidden Lands to occupy all of them. There were only a few creatures of the Forbidden Lands in this meridian, and they were from the Blue Sea clan. Lu Ming and the others didn't make a move to avoid unnecessary trouble. Instead, they set up a concealment array formation nearby and waited. Truth be told, the heavenly abode light that rushed out of the 9 meridians was no longer very dense. If Lu Ming and the others relied on the armor refined by Dandan and Bubbles, they should be able to charge in if they were careful. But they didn't dare, because he was afraid of the Grotto Heaven Beast in his meridians. Even though they speculated that the ancient city's formation was constantly absorbing the energy and paradise divine light from the 9 meridians, it should be very difficult for the meridians to condense a paradise divine beast. However, they didn't have the confidence. They couldn't be sure. What if there was a paradise divine beast in the meridians? If that happened, they would all be wiped out. Just in case, it was better to wait. The creatures of the Forbidden Lands were the same. Those top elites didn't dare to go in. They continued to wait. What Lu Ming and the others didn't know was that a storm was brewing on the island. The initiator of this storm was the Yuanguang clan. The leaders of the Yuanguang clan, Yuanguang Wuji, Yuanguang Liuji, Yuanguang Qiji, Yuanguang Baji, and Yuanguang Jiuji sent a message to the Blue Sea clan and the Baleful Yin clan at the same time, inviting them to discuss something important. Near a certain meridian, the elites of the Yuanguang clan, the Baleful Yin clan, and the Blue Sea clan gathered at the same time. Yuanguang Wuji, Yuanguang Liuji, you said you wanted to discuss something important. Can you tell me what it is now? Gaishak asked from the Baleful Yin clan. He looked at Yuanguang Wuji, Yuanguang Liuji, and Yuanguang Liuji with a fierce look. Not long ago, Yuanguang Liuji and Yuanguang Liuji had competed with them for the top source-level divine medicine. If they hadn't competed, the other sects wouldn't have failed, and the source-level divine medicine wouldn't have fallen into the hands of the Yi Immortal. It would be strange if Gaishak's expression were good. Beside Gaishak, the infernal fiend lord's expression wasn't good either. On the other side were the people of the Blue Sea clan. The leaders of the Blue Sea clan were also very young. There were 2 young men and a young woman. The 3 of them were the princes and princesses of the Blue Sea clan. They looked at the Yuanguang clan and the Baleful Yin clan with interest, as if they couldn't wait for the 2 clans to fight. I've gathered all of you here to kill someone. Yuanguang Liuji said coldly. Ah! When Gaishak heard this, he immediately burst into laughter. He laughed so hard that tears almost came out of his eyes. Kill someone? You want to gather all 3 clans together? Yuan Liuji, you're too ridiculous. Gaishak laughed. I'm curious. Who is the person you want to kill? A young man from the Blue Sea clan looked at Yuanguang Liuji and asked. This person was a prince of the Blue Sea clan. He was known as Prince Kanglo. Lu Ming. Yuanguang Liuji's cold voice sounded. Gaishak's laughter stopped abruptly. His face turned gloomy. Lu Ming is a member of the Heaven Destroyer. However, he's extremely talented. He's only a 9th-tier Divine Master, but he already has the combat strength of an invincible Divine Master. Once he reaches the peak Divine Master level, none of us will be a match for him. When he breaks through to the Source Realm, he'll become even stronger. He'll be a threat to our clans. Yuanguang Liuji continued. I agree. Lu Ming must be eliminated to prevent him from becoming a threat. Gaishak nodded. He agreed with Yuanguang Liuji on this point. A 9th-tier divine master with the combat strength of an invincible divine master? How's that possible? What's his background? The calmness on Prince Kenglo's face disappeared. It was replaced by shock. I heard that he has some forbidden body that controls forbidden power. However, I've never heard of any forbidden body or forbidden power. Yuanguang Liuji shook his head. Gaishak, Infernal Fiend King, and the others were also puzzled by this point. This was because they had never heard of any forbidden body or forbidden power in the primitive continent of the last epoch. Prince Zhongluo's face was also filled with confusion. Of course we have to get rid of Lu Ming. But how do we do that? This person is extremely cunning. Once he hides, it'll be very difficult to find him. Moreover, he has an expert who controls the power of spacetime by his side. If they work together, they'll be very difficult to deal with. We'll need 3 invincible divine masters to deal with him at the same time. We can only split into 2 groups. How are we going to find him? Infernal Fiend King asked. Yuanguang Liuji and Yuanguang Liuji also looked pensive. Indeed, how are they going to find Lu Ming? If Lu Ming didn't appear, no matter how many experts they had, they wouldn't be able to do anything to Lu Ming. I have an idea. At this moment, a clear voice came from the void in the distance. Chapter 49:16. A figure appeared in the air. His white robe fluttered in the wind, and he had an extraordinary aura. His eyes were filled with vicissitudes. Ye Immortal! It was the Ye Immortal. Boom, boom, boom. Instantly, terrifying auras erupted. Yuan Wuji, Yuan Liuji, Gaishak, Infernal Spirit Lord, and the others released terrifying energy and killing intent. Their auras locked onto the Ye Immortal. Only the people from the Blue Sea tribe remained calm. Ye Immortal, how dare you come here alone? You must be tired of living. Gaishak shouted with a ferocious look on his face. He was ready to attack at any time. I'm not here to fight with you. I'm here to discuss a partnership. Yi Wuchang said indifferently, his face calm. Discuss a partnership? Hand over the top-grade source-level divine herb and kneel down to admit your mistakes. We can talk about a partnership later. Gaishak said with a ferocious look on his face. I have a way to lure Lu Ming out. If you want to kill Lu Ming, then work with me. If you don't want to kill him, then attack. You may not be able to keep me here. Ye Immortal stopped in the distance and did not approach. He seemed to be prepared to retreat at any time. Do you really have a way to lure Lu Ming out? And why should we trust you? Infernal Spirit Lord asked. He was much calmer than Gaishak. I wouldn't have come if I didn't have a way. Yi Wuchen smiled and continued. The last question is because Lu Ming has a taboo body. A taboo body is a huge scourge to both of you and me. It's not only to us, but also to those above the origin. It's a huge scourge. Haha, that's an exaggeration. How could a taboo power that I've never heard of be so powerful? It's the Great Tribulation of the Source. If it wasn't for the Great Tribulation of the Source, the experts of my tribe could easily suppress Lu Ming with one hand. Gaishak sneered disdainfully. That's because you don't know the origin of the forbidden body. Let me tell you. The forbidden body controls the forbidden body, which is the power of the universe. Ye Immortal said. What? The power of the universe? Gaishak, Infernal Spirit Lord, Yuan Wuji, Yuan Liuji, and even Prince Kanglo were all shocked. Their faces were filled with disbelief. Yes, the power of the universe. The forbidden body of the universe has its own will. The power of the universe itself, under normal circumstances. It would cause great harm to the universe. However, the universe is the power of the universe itself is the power of the universe. The power of the taboo is, in fact, the power of the universe. The 3 clans and the heavenly human clan are not from the universe. You will be suppressed by this universe. The stronger the power of the universe, the greater the suppression on us. Now, do you know why I said that Lu Ming is a huge scourge? Yi Wuxian explained. So that's how it is. The taboo energy is actually the energy of the universe. It can't be left alive. It must be eliminated, Yuan Wuji whispered. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. That's right. If we want to achieve our goals, we must eliminate the power of the universe. Infernal Spirit Lord also said. Indeed, this person must be eliminated. Prince Kanglo also said. So, Lu Ming is our common enemy. Our goal is the same. What's wrong with us working together? Yi Immortal said. Of course we can work together. Why don't you tell me how you can lure Lu Ming out? Yuan Wuji said. When I met Lu Ming earlier, I threw a dozen heads at him. They were all Heaven Destroyer's men. Lu Ming must be very eager to know what happened to the Heaven Destroyer's men. I think he must be very eager to find me now. Now, I just need to send a message to the entire island and challenge Lu Ming to a battle. If he wants to know what happened to the Heaven Destroyer's men, he can only agree to fight me. Yi Immortal said. The eyes of the others lit up. Then we can work together to kill Lu Ming at the place you agreed to fight. Infernal Spirit Lord added. That's not enough. Yi Wuchang shook his head and said, anyone who can obtain the power of the universe is a person with great luck. This kind of person has great luck and is extremely difficult to kill. Therefore, in order to ensure that nothing goes wrong, it's best to set up an origin level array. I believe that with the foundation of your race, it shouldn't be difficult to set up a simple origin level array. My race has brought some bones of origin realm experts. It won't be difficult to set up a simple source level formation with the bones of origin realm experts as the foundation. It'll just take time. Yuan Wuji said. My race also has some bones of origin realm experts. If we work together, the speed of setting up the formation will increase greatly. My race can help too. The Infernal Spirit Lord and Prince Kanglo said one after another. Alright, then let's decide on the location, Yi Immortal said. Immediately, they began to discuss the specific details. It had been 3 days since Bubble left. Lu Ming and the others hid in the concealment formation and cultivated in peace. Lu Ming. Suddenly, a voice rang out from the sky. It was like a thunderclap that spread out in all directions. That's Yi Immortal's voice. Lu Ming and the others narrowed their eyes and could not help but look at the sky. With Lu Ming and the others' eyesight, they could see millions of kilometers away if there were no obstructions. As a result, they saw a figure hovering in the sky. It was Yi Immortal. Lu Ming, I know you can hear me. Yi Immortal continued to speak. With Yi Immortal's cultivation, his voice could be heard from every corner of the island. Don't you want to know the fate of the other members of the Heaven Exterminating Troop? I'll give you a chance. 300,000 miles northeast of the ancient city, let's fight. If you can defeat me, I'll tell you about the Heaven Exterminating Troop. Remember, the time is 3 days later. After Yi Wuxiu finished speaking, his figure flashed and disappeared from the high altitude. Yi Immortal actually challenged Lu Ming. This is strange. I'm afraid it's a trap. Xian Yanqing said solemnly. Yi Immortal seems to have come to this island alone. What tricks can he play? Dandan said. I'm afraid he's working with the creatures of the Forbidden Grounds. Xian Yanqing was still worried. Yi Immortal stole the top source-level divine medicine of the creatures of the Forbidden Grounds. They have a grudge against each other. How can they work together? Dandan disagreed. This is too strange. We have to be careful, Guillemot said and then looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, what do you think? We have to go. But we have to be prepared. Dandan, we'll need your help again. Lu Ming said. He explained his plan and started to make arrangements. 3 days later, Lu Ming set off alone and headed 300,000 kilometers northeast of the ancient city. Lu Ming knew that there was a huge mountain there. It was the location of the battle. However, Lu Ming was blocked by someone before he could reach the mountain. It was someone from the Sea tribe. Chapter 49:17. She was from the Blue Sea race and she was a woman. This woman was a little different from the other members of the Blue Sea tribe. The other members of the Blue Sea tribe had large amounts of scales on their faces, But this woman only had a few purple scales between her eyebrows. Her divine skin was curvaceous, and her appearance was peerless. With the addition of the scales, she looked even more charming. Lu Ming stopped. The battle god's spear appeared in his hand and a powerful aura surged from his body. Lu Ming, don't be nervous. I'm not here to be your enemy. You should have noticed that I'm the only one nearby. If I were your enemy, I wouldn't have come alone. The woman from the Blue Sea race smiled. Then why are you blocking my way? Lu Ming said coldly. I'm saving your life. The young woman from the Blue Sea race said. Saving my life? Ha, that's funny. The Blue Sea race can't wait to tear me to pieces. Lu Ming sneered. The others are the others, and I am me. Let me introduce myself. My name is Blue Sea Race. Everyone calls me Princess Tsong Xian. The young woman said. This woman was one of the 3 young leaders of the Blue Sea Race. In terms of status, she wasn't below Prince Kanglo and had also participated in the 3 race meeting. Why should I believe you? Lu Ming said in a low voice. I can tell you something. The battle between the Yi Immortal and you is just a trap. In fact, the Yi Immortal has already cooperated with the Primordial Light Race, the Baleful Een Race, and the Blue Sea Race. They have set up a source-level formation at the location of the battle with the Origin Source Skeleton. Once you go there, you'll be trapped in the source-level formation. With your current cultivation, you'll definitely die if you step into the source-level formation. Princess Tsong Xian said. The Yi Immortal has cooperated with the creatures of the 3 Great Forbidden Lands? Lu Ming's expression changed and he found it hard to believe. The Yi Immortal had just taken the top-grade source-level divine herb from the Primordial Light Tribe and the Baleful Een Tribe. Logically speaking, the Primordial Light Tribe and the Baleful Een Tribe would want nothing more than to kill the Yi Immortal. Why would they cooperate with him? Was there some inside story that he didn't know? There are a lot of things involved in this and I can't explain it all in a short time. However, their cooperation is absolutely true. Princess Tsong Xian said. Why are you telling me this? What's in it for you? Lu Ming said. Naturally, he would not believe Princess Tsong Xian so easily. Of course, I won't tell you this for free. If I want to cooperate with you, you have to promise me one thing. Princess Tsong Xian said. Just based on what you said just now, it doesn't seem like it's enough for me to agree to a condition of yours. Lu Ming said. Of course it's not enough. Let me tell you, the formation set up by the Bones of Reciprocity experts is extremely profound. It covers an extremely wide area. Even if you're prepared, it'll be very difficult for you to resist it. However, some of the origin energy bones in the formation were given to you by me. I have a way to interfere with the formation and stop it from operating. Is that enough? Princess Tsong Xian said. Oh, what condition do you want me to agree to? If it's too much, then we don't have to cooperate. Lu Ming said. He was going to the Yi Immortal to find out more about the Heaven Destroyer. However, the situation had changed. The Yi Immortal had cooperated with the creatures of the 3 Great Forbidden Lands and had even set up in source-level formation. His trip would be very dangerous. He could choose not to go and wait for Bubble to come back from her investigation. Of course, if the danger level was low, it was not impossible for him to go. For example, what Princess Tsong Xian said was true. She could really stop the source-level formation from operating. Don't worry. My condition is very simple. You only need to agree to help me once in the Purple Heaven Paradise. Princess Tsong Xian said. Help you once? That's fine. Lu Ming nodded. He only needed to help once. Once there was danger, he would retreat in time. Our cultivation hasn't reached reciprocity yet, so we're still bound by the oath of origin energy. How about we both swear on our life essences? Princess Tsong Xian said. Sure. Lu Ming nodded. Immediately, the 2 of them swore on their life essences. Only then did the 2 of them relax. Before leaving, Princess Tsong Xian revealed a meaningful smile. Why does this woman's smile give me a familiar feeling? It's like I've seen it before. Looking at Princess Tsong Xian's disappearing figure, Lu Ming frowned slightly. However, he was sure that this was the first time he had met Princess Tsong Xian. Why did he have such a feeling? Could it be that he had met too many beautiful women, and they all had the same feeling? Shaking his head, Lu Ming continued to head towards the location of the battle. Just as he was about to approach the location of the battle, Lu Ming's body suddenly glowed and emitted runes. Then, another Lu Ming separated from Lu Ming's body. This was the backup plan that Lu Ming had asked Dandan to set up, using a drop of Lu Ming's blood and a formation to refine a clone. Although it was not as strong as Lu Ming, it had the same presence as Lu Ming. Dandan had already used this method before. Lu Ming's formation clone continued to head towards the location of the battle, while Lu Ming's real body disappeared from the spot. Lu Ming flew into the sky, concealed his body, and headed towards the location of the battle. From afar, he saw a mountain peak. On top of the mountain peak, a figure stood in the air. It was Yi Immortal. The formation clone stepped towards the mountain peak. Yi Immortal, tell me, what happened to the people of Heaven Destroyer? The formation clone asked. Lu Ming, I didn't expect you to really come. Very well, I'll send you on your way to reunite with the people of Heaven Destroyer. Yi Immortal sneered and suddenly retreated rapidly. After Yi Immortal retreated, a terrifying presence suddenly erupted from the surroundings of the mountain peak. Then, pieces of bones flew out from the mountain peak. These bones were of different shapes. Some resembled arm bones, some resembled ribs, and some resembled leg bones. Every piece of bone was exuding a powerful origin energy. Countless runes filled the air, linking the power of these bones together to form a large formation. This large formation enveloped Lu Ming within it. Ye Immortal, you asked me to fight. Is this what you call a battle? Lu Ming's formation clone sneered. You and I belong to two different forces. This is a battle between two forces, not a personal grudge. Lu Ming, be on your way. Ye Immortal shouted coldly and waved his hand. Suddenly, the formation was activated. A terrifying energy burst out and rushed towards Lu Ming's rune clone. With a bang, Lu Ming's rune doppelganger exploded and turned into a drop of blood. This drop of blood was completely annihilated under the terrifying energy. It's a clone. Yi Wuxiu's expression suddenly changed, becoming very gloomy. Previously, the aura of the formation clone was exactly the same as Lu Ming's aura. Yi Immortal couldn't tell at all. We've been tricked. It's Lu Ming's clone. Lu Ming's real body must be nearby. Use all your strength to activate the origin level formation and envelop him. Yi Immortal shouted. Chapter 49:18. Yi Immortal shouted. Suddenly, several figures appeared around the mountain. These figures were from the Primordial Light tribe, the Baleful Een tribe, and the CC tribe. They were all experts from the three tribes who were proficient in array formations. There were more than a dozen of them in total. These experts kept forming hand seals and runes entered the origin source bones. The power of the origin source bones was constantly activated and combined with the array formation, turning into an even more terrifying force. The power of the array formation became even more terrifying. It swept out in all directions at an alarming speed. Oh no! Lu Ming, who was high up in the sky, turned pale. The power of the origin source array was beyond his imagination. Once it was activated, it would cover the sky and cover the earth. Lu Ming had already hidden far enough away, but the power of the array formation was still rapidly approaching him. Without any time to hesitate, Lu Ming's body flashed and he quickly retreated. Once he retreated, his body was naturally exposed. Lu Ming, you are indeed nearby. Since you are here today, stay here forever. Yi Immortal said coldly. Yi Immortal, you are really despicable. Your descendants have indeed inherited your genes. Lu Ming sneered as he increased his speed to the maximum. However, the array formation was spreading too quickly. Runes intertwined and were driven by a terrifying force. It was quickly approaching Lu Ming. Its speed was much faster than Lu Ming's. It seemed that Lu Ming was about to be enveloped by the array formation. Boom! Lu Ming suddenly waved his battle god spear and smashed it forward. The spear radiance was like a mountain as it bombarded the edge of the array formation. There was an earth-shattering boom as the battle god's spear vibrated violently. Lu Ming felt an invincible force from the battle god's spear hit him, and his body was sent flying. A trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. What a terrifying force! The might of an source-grade formation was truly terrifying. It was shockingly powerful. This array formation was set up by a dozen peak divine masters using their origin source bones. It was impossible for it to be a complete origin source array. Its power was definitely not complete. The power of an incomplete formation was already so terrifying. One had to know that this was only the periphery. If one were to be enveloped by it, the power would definitely be even greater. Lu Ming retreated, and the array formation continued to extend, wanting to envelop Lu Ming. "Let's fight." Lu Ming revealed a ruthless expression. A top-tier source-grade divine weapon armor appeared and enveloped his entire body. Since he could not dodge, he could only fight with his life on the line. He would use his own strength to take it head-on. If he really could not do it, he could only hide in the great desolate ring. However, at that moment, the source-grade formation's expansion suddenly stopped. A few of the source bones were trembling. The power within them was no longer spreading out, but was rapidly withdrawing back. What's going on? Why are these origin bones suddenly going out of control? Someone shouted. Is there still the remnant will of a reciprocity expert in the origin energy skeleton? That's very likely. Damn it, continue. The others roared. They didn't suspect that it was their own people who had tampered with it. They just thought that there was something wrong with the origin bone itself. After all, it was impossible for anyone from the 3 Forbidden Grounds to help Lu Ming. However, it was still useless. The array formation still could not be activated and stopped. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. It seemed that Princess Song Xian had made a move. Lu Ming quickly retreated, avoiding the source-grade formation. "Lu Ming, don't go. Fight me," Yi Immortal shouted. He turned into a streak of sword light and rushed toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming swept his gaze across the surroundings. His body did not stop and he continued to retreat. There was a cold smile at the corners of his lips. "Do you want to win with numbers?" Boom. As he retreated, Lu Ming struck out with his palm. A huge continent formed, covering an area of tens of thousands of miles. The larger the area, the less concentrated the power, and the weaker it would be. However, Lu Ming did not need it to be very powerful. He only needed it to cover a large area. Under the weight of the continent, a terrifying might pressed down, causing the void to explode out continuously. In the void below, one figure after another appeared. There were people from the Baleful Yin race, the Yuanguang race, and the Tsongming race. There were hundreds of them. These people had all set up a joint attack formation. There were 21 of them as the main attack formation, and there were a dozen others. Clearly, these joint attack formations were secretly lying in ambush here. Once Lu Ming was trapped in the formation, he would be in danger. Now, Lu Ming's desolation form had forced them all out. These joint attack formations chased after Lu Ming, trying to stop Lu Ming. Lu Ming retreated at lightning speed. His speed was much faster than that of the combined attack of the arrays. Even Yi Immortal surpassed the joint attack formations and chased after Lu Ming. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Just as Lu Ming was retreating, a sharp whistling sound came from behind him. Streaks of sword light pierced through the void and stabbed towards Lu Ming. Light beam hair. These streaks of sword light were the light beam hair of the Yuanguang race. They were densely packed, and there were thousands of them. Each of them was extremely powerful. Yuan Wuji or Yuan Liuji. Lu Ming knew that only Yuan Wuji or Yuan Liuji in the Yuanguang race had this kind of power. Sky-breaking form. Lu Ming shouted coldly. The divine battle spear vibrated continuously and shot out streaks of spear light. These spear lights were incomparably sharp. They pierced through the light beams and directly pierced through them. The strands of light continued to explode and turn into ashes. Lu Ming blasted a huge hole in the densely packed light beam hair. Lu Ming rushed through this hole. After rushing through this hole, a figure blocked Lu Ming's way. It was Yuan Wuji. Die! Lu Ming shouted. His body did not stop as he charged towards Yuan Wuji. His spear light was aimed at Yuan Wuji's glabella. I'd like to see how powerful you are. Yuan Wuji shouted coldly as a battle sword appeared on his body. His body exuded a dazzling glow as he became one with the sword and slashed towards Lu Ming. The shocking sword light pierced through the sky. It was extremely terrifying. Boom! The spear light and the sword light collided, causing an earth-shattering explosion. However, the stalemate between the two only lasted for a breath before the sword light trembled violently and exploded. A figure retreated rapidly. It was Yuan Wuji. Yuan Wuji retreated a few thousand miles before he could stabilize himself. His face was gloomy. So weak? No, he should still have a trump card that he hasn't used yet. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. If Yuan Wuji was only as strong as he had been, then he was too weak. He was far from being comparable to Gaishak. However, Yuan Wuji was an invincible divine master. Although the combat strength that Yuan Wuji had displayed was very strong and had surpassed the Guangxin royal envoy, it was definitely not at the level of an invincible divine master. An invincible divine master would definitely have more combat strength than this. Chapter 49-19. Very good, Lu Ming. You're really good. You're only a 9th level divine master, but you have such combat strength. I've underestimated you. Let me show you the power of the red celestial light. Yuan Wuji's body emitted a scarlet glow before he could finish his sentence. At the same time, a wave of extremely high heat emanated from his body. In the next moment, Lu Ming saw a ray of light emerge from Yuan Wuji's body. This ray of light was extremely red, even redder than blood. It was extremely hot. A terrifying pressure spread out from this ray of light. Lu Ming narrowed his eyes slightly. He instinctively felt a great threat from this ray of light. This ray of light was definitely not ordinary. According to Yuan Wuji, the red celestial light had the word celestial in it. Anything related to the word celestial could not be underestimated. The red celestial light appeared and spread out on the surface of Yuan Wuji's body. A wisp of it also merged with the battle sword in his hand. Yuan Wuji made his move. He turned into a red sword light and slashed at Lu Ming at an extremely fast speed. The sword light emitted a terrifying heat. Wherever it passed, the void distorted and collapsed. It was completely annihilated. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly. He could feel the terror of this sword. He did not dare to be careless. He circulated his forbidden power to the extreme and executed the sky-breaking style. Boom! The spear light and the sword light collided for the second time. A pillar of light burst out from where the two collided and shot into the sky. The spear light and the sword light shook continuously and collapsed. Two figures retreated continuously. It was Lu Ming and Yuan Wuji. This time, the two of them were evenly matched. This ray of light is so terrifying. It seems to contain endless energy and is filled with a vast heavenly might. It seems to be able to cut through everything. Lu Ming was secretly shocked. He could feel that the red celestial light contained endless energy. Yuan Wuji was far from unleashing the full power of the red celestial light. Once it was unleashed, its power would be unimaginable. Could this be the so-called light controller? A thought flashed through Lu Ming's mind. Luo Yunyang had interacted with the primordial light tribe many times. Back in the Purple Heaven Utopia, he had fought with the primordial light tribe continuously. Thus, he had long understood that the Guangxin royal envoy wasn't the strongest in the primordial light tribe. There was an even stronger entity above the Guangxin royal envoy. Every light controller was an invincible divine master when they reached the peak divine master level. As the name suggested, the Guangxin imperial envoy, the light controller, and the light controller, the imperial war envoys, were the envoys under the Guangxin imperial envoy. Regardless of whether it was the Light King's emissary or the war emissary, they were all subordinates of the light controller and obeyed his orders. In the past, when Lu Ming fought with Yuan Jioji used a move called Destructive Immortal Light. However, that was not the real Destructive Immortal Light. Instead, it was condensed by a secret skill. It was worlds apart from the real Destructive Immortal Light. Again, he I can't be bothered to entertain you. As soon as Lu Ming spoke, he transformed into an aurora and dashed in another direction. If Yuan Wuji had been alone, Lu Ming would have really wanted to fight him to the death. However, the Yi Immortal was chasing after him, and there were also those joint attack arrays. There were also many other experts hiding in the dark. Why would Lu Ming want to tangle with Yuan Wuji? You can't escape. Lu Ming had just flown a short distance when he heard a cold voice in front of him. Thereafter, a sinister aura soared into the sky like a tsunami, charging toward Lu Ming. It was Gaishak. He had blocked Lu Ming's path. Boom! Lu Ming cast the primeval style and struck out a piece of land in front of him. His figure swayed and he dashed out from another direction. However, another figure appeared in that direction. It was Yuan Liuji. Lu Ming's heart was heavy. It seemed that these top-notch experts had already surrounded him in all directions, blocking his escape route. Then I'll rush over. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold as he rushed towards Yuan Liuji. He wanted to break through from Yuan Liuji's side. Black Moon Divine Light. Yuan Liuji's cold voice sounded as a beam of light appeared in his body. This beam of light was dark and also emitted a terrifying fluctuation. It wasn't any weaker than Yuan Liuji's red celestial light. With the Black Moon Divine Light, Yuan Liuji's combat strength reached the level of an invincible divine master. He exchanged a blow with Lu Ming and blocked Lu Ming's charging figure. At the same time, Yi Immortal, Yuan Liuji, Gaishak and even Pluto Lord appeared from the other side and attacked Lu Ming. 5 invincible divine master experts attacked Lu Ming together. Their power was earth-shattering. On a mountain peak not far away, 2 young figures stood there. These 2 people were the 2 princes of the Tsangming race. They were peerless experts among the divine masters and were at the level of an invincible divine master. Prince Kanglo was one of them. Let's attack and take down Lu Ming in one fell swoop. Prince Kanglo said, My 2 brothers, please wait. Suddenly, a voice sounded. Then a slim figure appeared. This figure was none other than Princess Tsang Xian. Tsang Xian. The 2 princes of the Tsangming race looked at Princess Tsang Xian with burning eyes. The princes and princesses of the Tsangming race weren't siblings. In the Tsangming race, as long as they were of the younger generation and were extremely talented, they could be crowned as princes and princesses. In reality, they weren't related by blood. Even princes and princesses could marry each other. Princess Tsang Xian was a peerless beauty, so it was normal for Prince Kanglo and Prince Kanglo to covet her. My 2 brothers, why are you in such a hurry to attack? Isn't it better to let the other 2 races fight with Lu Ming while we sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight? Princess Tsang Xian said with a smile. But Lu Ming is indeed powerful. We can't leave him alive. We can only be at ease if we kill him. Moreover, he killed people from the Tsangming race before. Prince Kanglo said, My 2 brothers, do you think that Lu Ming can survive the joint attack of 5 invincible divine masters? Prince Tsang Xian continued to smile and said, But Lu Ming is indeed powerful. If he goes all out before he dies, it's not impossible for him to take 1 or 2 people down with him. Are you sure you want to take this risk? Prince Kanglo and Prince Kanglo pondered. They felt that Princess Tsang Xian's words made sense. Lu Ming was only a 9th-tier divine master, but he had the fighting strength of an invincible divine master. This was really shocking and terrifying. No one could see through such a person. Who knew if Lu Ming had other trump cards? If he went all out, it was possible for him to take 1 or 2 people of the same level down with him. Sister Tsang Xian is right. Then we'll sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight. Prince Kanglo said. The other prince naturally wouldn't attack. Get lost. Lu Ming pushed his fighting strength to the extreme, using the chaos form and the sky-breaking form consecutively to attack Yuan Liuji. Under Lu Ming's frenzied attacks, Yuan Liuji could not withstand it and began to retreat. Chapter 49-20. Crimson Immortal Light, Kill. On the other side, Yuan Wuji was the closest to Lu Ming. He was also the fastest. He turned into an immortal light and charged at Lu Ming. His power was so terrifying that Lu Ming could only brandish his spear to block it. With a loud boom, the two of them retreated at the same time. Although Lu Ming had blocked Yuan Wuji's attack, he had also been blocked. Yuan Liuji immediately launched an attack at Lu Ming. Crimson Immortal Light. Black Moon Immortal Light. Two terrifying immortal lights shot toward Lu Ming one after the other. Lu Ming used all his strength to block them, but he still couldn't block them and was sent flying. His chest was swept by the crimson immortal light. He instantly felt an extremely hot and sharp force drilling into his body. Even though he was wearing a top-tier source-grade armor, he could still feel the terrifying force passing through the armor and hitting Lu Ming. Lu Ming's blood boiled and he almost spat out blood. Lu Ming, you will definitely die today. Kill. Turn into ashes. Yi Buxiu, the king of Spectre, and the king of Nether Spirits let out their murderous voices. 3 attacks were directed at Lu Ming from 3 different directions. Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji continued to use their immortal lights to attack Lu Ming. The 5 invincible divine lords launched a joint attack from 5 different directions. At this moment, the world lost its color and the void became chaotic. Lu Ming is dead for sure. At this moment, everyone who saw this scene couldn't help but think in their hearts. The joint attack of the 5 invincible divine lords was just too terrifying. Even Origin Realm existences wouldn't dare to face it head-on. Some weaker Origin Realm existences wouldn't even be able to withstand it. Although Lu Ming had a top-tier source-grade armor, it wasn't omnipotent. While top-notch soul-tier divine armors were profound and possessed astounding defensive capabilities, they still had to be activated before they could be used. With Lu Ming's cultivation base, he couldn't unleash much of the power of the top-tier soul-grade divine weapon armor. Without being able to unleash its full power, the defensive power of a top-tier soul-grade armor would be very limited. Lu Ming's pupils shrank sharply. Various thoughts flashed through his mind, but in the end he came to the conclusion that he couldn't stop it. Even if he gave it his all and used all his means, it would be impossible for him to block it. Even with Lu Ming's life force, he would be severely injured if he didn't die. At that time, he would become a fish on the chopping block. I can only hide in the desolate ring. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Now, the only way to avoid the attack was to enter the ancient desolation ring. Given the material of the Great Desolate Ring, blocking this attack was naturally not a problem. However, there was a drawback. Once he entered the ancient desolate ring would fall into his opponent's hands, and he would also be controlled by his opponent. But in this situation, there was no other way. He had been too careless this time. Lu Ming was keenly aware that he had been careless this time. The other reason was that Lu Ming had been too confident. During this period of time, Lu Ming's fighting strength had soared. First, he had comprehended the 3000th ancient secret art, causing his forbidden energy to undergo a qualitative transformation. He had surpassed the Lord of the ancient divine court and his predecessors. Then, he had broken through to the 9th level divine lord realm, causing his fighting strength to soar to the level of an invincible divine lord. In truth, Lu Ming had been a little overconfident and had become a little arrogant. He had believed that he was practically invincible under Origin and that he could go anywhere he wanted in this vast world. Thus, even though Princess Zongxian had told him that the Yi Immortal had joined forces with the beings of the 3 Forbidden Lands, he had still come. He had originally believed that with his current strength and Princess Zongxian's help, he would have no problem escaping unscathed. In the end, it turned out that Lu Ming had miscalculated. Just as Lu Ming was about to enter the ancient desolate ring, something unexpected happened. Absolute demonic wall. A feminine cry was heard. Then the demonic chi in the void surged wildly. 2 tall walls suddenly appeared in front of Gaishak and Lord of the Underworld. The walls were completely made up of demonic chi. Boom, boom. Gaishak and Lord of the Underworld's attacks were blocked by the demonic wall. Although the demonic wall was eventually destroyed, their attacks also dissipated in the air. Bright Moon Gale Fist. At the same time as the demonic wall, a terrifying fist energy appeared. It directly pierced through the void and formed an earth-shattering power. It surged toward the Yi Immortal and blocked the Yi Immortal's attack. Lu Ming was invigorated. He used the ancient desolate form with his left hand and the heaven-breaking form with his right hand consecutively to block the attacks of Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji. Who is it? Gaishak roared as he looked up into the sky. Two figures suddenly appeared high up in the sky. It was a man and a woman, Gu Changfeng and Zi Xian. Why are they here? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The man and woman in the sky were actually Gu Changfeng and Zi Xian. Gu Changfeng was still the same. His long robe fluttered in the wind and his aura was extraordinary. Zi Xian, on the other hand, had undergone a drastic change. There was a black mark between Zi Xian's eyebrows. The demonic qi in her body was extremely dense and exuded an aura of nobility. A pair of demonic wings extended from her back. Zi Xian was originally from the demonic demon royal family. She looked completely different from ordinary demons. She looked more like a human and did not have the demonic wings on her back. However, the demonic wings on Zi Xian's back were completely different from those of ordinary demons. The demonic wings on Zi Xian's back were dark purple and covered with ancient runes. They were ancient and mysterious. Most of Zi Xian's nobility came from the demonic wings. Just looking at the runes on the demonic wings made one feel an inexplicable sense of fear and pressure. It seems that Zi Xian has successfully merged with the demon ancestor blood crystal. A thought flashed across Lu Ming's mind. 2 years ago, Zi Xian was in a terrible state. She was in a daze and her eyes were tightly shut. It was as if she would be swallowed by the demon ancestor blood crystal at any time. Now, it seemed that Zi Xian had succeeded and evolved. The ancient demonic wings were likely the result of a successful fusion. Swoosh swoosh. Gu Changfeng and Zi Xian were extremely fast. They charged towards Lu Ming like two bolts of lightning. They wanted to meet up with Lu Ming. Stop them. Don't let them meet up. Yi Immortal roared and attacked at the same time. Sword light soared into the sky and slashed towards Gu Changfeng and Zi Xian. Yi Immortal, your opponent is me. I was injured back then. Let's fight again today. Gu Changfeng shouted coldly and charged towards Yi Immortal. The two were astonishingly fast and exchanged a few blows in the blink of an eye. You're courting death. Heavenly sword, star explosion. Kill them. Yi Immortal roared. He used his Genesis technique and pushed his battle strength to the peak. Yi Immortal's battle strength had reached the level of an invincible divine master after using his Genesis technique. Bright Moon Wind Fist. Gu Changfeng punched out. Although it seemed slow, it was actually as fast as lightning. Its power was exceptionally terrifying. The fist force exploded, causing the void to explode. The earth-shattering fist force collided with the star explosion. Chapter 49-21. Gu Changfeng unleashed a terrifying punch that collided with Yi Immortal's Genesis technique. An earth-shattering boom erupted as a powerful shockwave swept out in all directions. In the end, both Yi Immortal and Gu Changfeng shuddered and retreated a few steps. They were evenly matched. Amazing, it's a Genesis technique. Senior Gu Changfeng can actually use a Genesis technique. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Given his current eyesight, he could naturally tell that Gu Changfeng had just used a Genesis technique. In the past, Gu Changfeng could not use Genesis techniques. He had previously consulted Gu Changfeng and discussed the mysteries of the cultivation of taboo power with him. Therefore, he was quite familiar with Gu Changfeng's cultivation. Gu Changfeng was extremely talented. He was only a pinnacle almighty, but he already had a vague understanding of Genesis techniques and had touched the outline of them. However, he had only touched the outline and was still very far from truly comprehending them, let alone using Genesis techniques at the pinnacle almighty level. However, not long after, Gu Changfeng had not only comprehended them but could also use them. Could it be that Gu Changfeng had comprehended them under the 4 statues? Lu Ming immediately thought of the 4 statues. Lu Ming had comprehended the 3000th ancient secret technique under the 4 statues. Given Gu Changfeng's talent, it was normal for him to be able to comprehend Genesis techniques. Gu Changfeng's battle strength was equivalent to Prince Guanxian's when he did not know any Genesis techniques. Now that he had comprehended and used Genesis techniques, It was not impossible for his battle strength to reach the level of an invincible almighty. Yi Immortal also relied on Genesis techniques to achieve this level of battle strength. One had to admit that Gu Changfeng's talent was extremely terrifying. He was one of the top taboo physiques in the past. If he could break through to the origin realm in the future, his future achievements would most likely be on par with Fei Huang, the master of the Life Spirit Heavenly Court and the master of the Primordial Divine Court. In fact, there were very few people in history who could use Genesis techniques at the pinnacle almighty level. Yi Immortal was an exception. He was the reincarnation of the strongest patriarch in the history of the heavenly human race and had rich experience. There were very few people in history who could use Genesis techniques at the Divine Master stage who were not reincarnated. At least in this era, there weren't many. Even Yuan Wuji, Yuan Liuji, Gaishak, Infernal Fiend Lord and the others didn't know how to use Genesis arts. They relied on their talents and other powers. For example, Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji relied on the Red Scorch Immortal Light and the Black Moon Immortal Light to reach the invincible Godmaster level. As for Gaishak and Nether Fiend King, they relied on their terrifying Baleful Een energy and the Baleful Een race's unique secret technique to possess the battle prowess of an invincible Divine Master. Lu Ming, on the other hand, relied on his taboo power, the battle character secret art to increase his battle prowess by 9 times, the 3,000 ancient secret arts, and the 2 secret arts he had created himself. Why are you and that skeleton able to use Genesis techniques? What exactly did you guys obtain? Yi Immortal growled in a low voice. Disbelief was written all over his face, and he couldn't figure out what was going on. The bones he spoke of were naturally the Bone Devils. He was already surprised that the Bone Devils could use Genesis arts. But now Gu Changfeng could do the same. He had fought with Gu Changfeng more than once, so he knew Gu Changfeng very well. Gu Changfeng definitely wouldn't have been able to use Genesis arts before. But now, he was able to use Genesis arts all of a sudden. He must have obtained some heaven-defying opportunity, and this opportunity must be in the Purple Heaven Grotto. Yi Immortal's heart was burning with desire. He wanted to take this opportunity for himself. He didn't associate this opportunity with the 4 statues. In fact, Yi Immortal had seen the 4 statues before. After Lu Ming left, Yi Immortal had searched every mountain and area in the Qi vein, so he naturally saw the 4 statues. Even though the mountain had collapsed, the 4 statues were still intact. He was very curious and had carefully observed them, but there was no reaction at all. They were like 4 ordinary statues and he couldn't take them away, so he left it at that. He wasn't the only one. The creatures in the forbidden area had also seen the 4 statues, but there was no reaction. Do you think you're the only one who can use Genesis arts? Bright Moon Wind Fist. Gu Changfeng sneered and continued to attack, quickly exchanging blows with Yi Immortal. While Gu Changfeng and Yi Immortal were fighting, Gaishak and Infernal Spirit King also attacked. Infernal Spirit King pounced towards Zi Xian, while Gaishak charged towards Lu Ming. He wanted to kill Lu Ming together with Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji. Absolute Demon Wall. Zi Xian shouted. Dense demonic qi surged from her demon wings, and the runes on them glowed. As the wings flapped, the runes and demonic qi exploded. In the next instant, a demon wall appeared in front of Gaishak and Infernal Spirit King. Break! Break! Gaishak and Infernal Spirit King roared and unleashed their terrifying attacks, bombarding the 2 demon walls. Boom! Boom! The demon walls shook violently, and cracks appeared on them before they finally collapsed. However, Gaishak and Infernal Spirit King were also blocked. It's that pair of wings. Gaishak and Infernal Spirit King couldn't help but look toward Zi Xian's wings. Zi Xian's pair of wings was absolutely astonishing. They could actually condense 2 demonic walls, which possessed astonishing defensive power. One must know that Zi Xian had blocked the attacks of 2 invincible divine masters. Such defensive power was rarely seen in the world. Yi Immortal, Gaishak and Infernal Spirit King were blocked. Lu Ming only had to face Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji, who were much easier to deal with. Lu Ming first performed the primeval style, condensing a piece of land that charged vertically toward Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji. Then his figure charged towards Gu Changfeng and Zi Xian like lightning, intending to join them. Boom! The continent that Lu Ming had created naturally couldn't block the joint attacks of Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji. The continent was destroyed by the two of them, and the remaining attacks of the two rushed towards Lu Ming like an avalanche. However, after being blocked by the primeval land, the power of their attacks was greatly reduced. Lu Ming waved his spear of combat god to block the attacks and retreated at the same time. In the end, he successfully retreated to Gu Changfeng and Zi Xian's side and joined them. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Ye Immortal, Yuan Wuji, Yuan Liuji, Gaishak and Infernal Spirit King surrounded Lu Ming and the other two in the middle. The five of them looked a little gloomy. 5 against 3, it wasn't easy. They would definitely win, but it would be difficult to stop them. Zi Xian of the Demon Clan, I know you. I didn't expect you to be able to merge with the Demon Ancestor Blood Crystal and reach the peak of the Divine Master Realm. You've done something that your ancestors couldn't do. What a great opportunity! Ye Immortal didn't make a move immediately. Instead, he looked at Zi Xian and exclaimed. He was indeed an old monster who had lived for countless years. As the #1 patriarch of the heavenly human tribe, he had extraordinary eyesight and could tell that Zi Xian had merged with the Demon Ancestor Blood Crystal. Chapter 49-22. However, those who knew a little about the ancestral demon blood crystal could tell. Zi Xian had just merged with the ancestral demon blood crystal and was still in the early stages, so she couldn't control it well. The energy of the ancestral demon blood crystal was constantly seeping out of her body. I've merged with the ancestral demon blood crystal and will become your greatest enemy. Are you disappointed? Zi Xian said coldly with great confidence in her eyes. In the past, in her eyes, Yi Wuxiu was an enemy that was difficult to defeat. He was too high to reach, and the distance between them was too far. But now, Yi Immortal was no longer undefeatable in Zi Xian's eyes. He was on the same level as her. In fact, given enough time, she might not even put Yi Wuxian in her eyes. After merging with the ancestral demon blood crystal, her potential was limitless. The demon ancestor blood crystal was an unquestionable supreme treasure of the demon race. It was simply too mysterious and contained boundless energy. She had only merged with the ancestral demon blood crystal successfully, but her cultivation had skyrocketed to the peak of the Divine Master Realm. She had directly ignored the barrier between the 9th and the peak of the Divine Master Realm. Disappointed? Why would I be disappointed? I should be happy because we have a common enemy. Ye Immortal laughed. Common enemy? Are you talking about the creatures of the Forbidden Grounds? Zi Xian glanced at Gaishak and the other 3 experts. Gaishak, Lord of the Underworld, Yuan Wuji, and Yuan Liuji were also a little confused. They didn't know what Yi Immortal wanted to do. However, they did not take action. This was because Yi Wuxiu had sent them a voice transmission previously, telling them not to be in a hurry to take action. All they had to do was to surround the Lu Ming trio. He had a plan to cause internal strife among the Lu Ming trio. No, our common enemy is them, Lu Ming and Gu Changfeng. Yi Immortal pointed at Lu Ming. Ridiculous! Zi Xian sneered with a hint of mockery. He was trying to sow discord between them. That was too low level. You don't know Lu Ming's background, do you? You don't know the origin of the forbidden power, do you? If you knew, you wouldn't find it ridiculous. Do you know why the forbidden body is the mortal enemy of the heavenly human race? Yi Immortal said. But Zi Xian couldn't help asking. He was not the only one. Gu Changfeng and Lu Ming were also curious. They also wanted to know why the forbidden body was the mortal enemy of the heavenly human race. The forbidden bodies and the heavenly human race's mortal enemy. Therefore, in history, the forbidden body and the heavenly human race. The life spirit was the master of the heavenly court, the master of the primordial divine court, the taboo sword ancestor, and the immeasurable heavenly demon. That's because the taboo power is actually the power of the cosmos. It's a power that the cosmos created in order to protect itself. As the leader of the demon royal family, you should know very well that you demons and us heavenly humans are not creatures of this universe. In this universe, we will be suppressed by it. The stronger the forbidden body is, the stronger the suppression of the heavenly human race will be. Conversely, the suppression of the heavenly human race will be weaker. As a result, if we want to develop, we need to get rid of the forbidden body. Otherwise, the more powerful the forbidden body becomes, the weaker its suppression on us becomes. It'll become more and more difficult for us to cultivate, and it'll become more and more difficult for us to break through. In particular, the suppression will become even stronger once we reach reciprocity, which will drastically reduce our battle prowess. So, do you think Lu Ming and Gu Changfeng are our common enemies? Yi Immortal explained. What? Yi Immortal's words were like a clap of thunder that exploded in Lu Ming's heart. The forbidden body was the power of the heavenly human race. It was the first time he had heard of it. Also, the heavenly human race and the demons were not creatures of this universe. What did that mean? Were there other universes other than this one? The forbidden body is the power of the heavenly human race. How is that possible? Zi Xian murmured to herself. Her face was filled with shock and doubt. At the sight of Zi Xian's expression, Lu Ming was certain that at least a part of what Yi Wuxiu said was true. Demons were really not living creatures of this universe. At the same time, countless thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. The heavenly human race was extremely talented, surpassing the other races in the universe. They were almost invincible in a battle of the same level. Of course, this referred to the other races in the universe, except for the creatures of the forbidden body. However, after reaching the origin realm, the heavenly human race's origin realm was much weaker. They seemed to be weaker than the other races in the universe. The Heaven Destroyer's origin realm and the heavenly human race's origin realm had clashed more than once. Lu Ming did not understand before, but he did now. If what Yi Immortal said was true, then everything made sense. The heavenly human race was not creatures of this universe and was suppressed by this universe. So, this little girl isn't from this universe. Then she's on the same side as us. Little girl, let's attack together. Let's destroy these two taboo bodies. We don't want them to grow and suppress us even more. Yuan Wuji said. Lu Ming and Gu Changfeng's eyes narrowed. What did he mean? Did Yuan Wuji mean that the Yuanguang race, the malevolent Yin race, and the Cangming race were not creatures of this universe? However, didn't the creatures of the forbidden body already exist in the untainted continent in the last era? How did they become creatures of this universe? How many secrets were hidden in this universe? I don't believe you. You are just trying to sow discord. Zi Xian shook her head. Zi Xian, everything I said is true. If I lie, then I will never be able to transcend and become an immortal. You better think carefully. Letting them grow is not your problem alone. It will be a disaster for the fiend demon race. You demons will be suppressed more and more in the future, and it will be harder for you to cultivate. Sooner or later, your race will be wiped out. Yi Immortal said. Lu Ming and Gu Changfeng looked at each other and took a step back secretly to put some distance between them and Zi Xian. They were also prepared to defend themselves. If what Yi Immortal said was true, then they were indeed enemies with Zi Xian. Moreover, Zi Xian looked like she was struggling. Clearly, she believed him. Although Yi Immortal's words were not an oath, they were more believable. If he swore on his life origin, it would be even more unbelievable. With Yi Immortal's strength, even if he had not reached the origin realm, he would probably be able to resist the backlash of swearing on his life origin. Yi Immortal did not swear on his life origin. He only said that he would never be able to transcend and become an immortal. Ordinary people would not dare to say something like that. Although it was not an oath, it was better than an oath. This was because there was a feeling in the unseen world, especially when it was related to transcendence and the immortal Tao. If he said something like that, it might come true. Those who wanted to become an immortal would not dare to say something like that. Chapter 49-23. There was an 80 to 90% chance that this was true. Seeing Zi Xian's expression, a trace of a smile appeared at the corners of Yi Wuxiu's mouth. As long as Zi Xian attacked together, or rather, Zi Xian did not even have to attack. As long as Zi Xian watched from the sidelines, the five of them were confident that they could take down Lu Ming and Gu Changfeng. Senior Gu Changfeng, get ready to break out. Lu Ming sent a telepathic message to Gu Changfeng. He planned to break out from the side while Zi Xian was still hesitating. Although the chances were slim, they had to give it a try. If they really could not do it, it would not be too late to enter the ancient wasteland ring. Lu Ming, Gu Changfeng, break out from the encirclement towards Yi Immortal. Let's attack together. At this moment, Zi Xian's voice rang out in Lu Ming and Gu Changfeng's ears. Lu Ming and Gu Changfeng did not show it on their faces, but they were stunned. Did Zi Xian not believe Yi Immortal's words? Lu Ming, no matter what, you have saved me and the demon clan. I, Zi Xian, am very clear about gratitude and grudges. This time, no matter what, I will help you. We can talk about the future in the future. Zi Xian's voice continued to ring out in their ears, but she still had a conflicted expression on her face. Clearly, Zi Xian's expression was faked. It was used to confuse Yi Wuxiu and the rest. Okay, let's charge towards Yi Immortal. Lu Ming replied. He knew Zi Xian very well. Since she had said so, she would not trick him. Yi Immortal, Yuan Wuji, Yuan Liuji, Gaishak, and Lord of the Abyss were all surrounding Lu Ming and the other two, but their positions were very interesting. Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji were closer to each other, while Gaishak and Lord of the Abyss were closer to each other. As for Yi Wuxiu, there was a certain distance between him and the other four. It was obvious that Yi Immortal was also guarding against Gaishak, Yuan Wuji, and the others. Their cooperation wasn't as solid as a block of iron. If he were to charge in any other direction, he might have to face two experts. However, if he were to charge in the direction of the Yi Immortal, he would only have to face one Yi Immortal. Charge! The next moment, Lu Ming and the other two made their move. Like lightning, they charged towards Yi Immortal. How dare you lie to me? Stop them. Yi Immortal was, after all, an old man who had lived for a long time. His reaction was astonishingly fast. The moment Lu Ming and the others moved, he knew that Zi Xian's previous expression was all an act to confuse them. She would still join forces with Lu Ming. Sword light exploded as Yi Immortal used a Genesis technique. A star appeared and pressed down on Lu Ming and the others. Crimson Immortal Light. Black Moon Immortal Light. Yuan Wuji, Yuan Liuji, Gaishak, and Infernal Fiend King also made their moves. Each of them unleashed their ultimate moves and charged towards Lu Ming's group. Bright Moon Wind Fist. Gu Changfeng swung his fist, causing the void to explode. Fist force burst forth and swept towards Yi Immortal with earth-shattering force. Absolute Demon Wall. Zi Xian's pair of demon wings glowed. Runes filled the air and formed a demon wall in front of Gaishak and the Infernal Fiend King. There was only one pair of demon wings. Hence, Zi Xian could only form two demon walls at a time. The Absolute Demon Wall was a secret technique that Zi Xian had evolved from fusing with the ancestral demon blood crystal. It was extremely powerful. Although it was not a Genesis technique, it was comparable to one. At the same time, Lu Ming used the Primal Desolation form and the Sky Splitter form. The Primal Desolation form formed a continent that smashed towards Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji. Meanwhile, he merged with the Battle God Spear and used the Sky Splitter form. He transformed into a dazzling spear light that pierced towards Yi Immortal. This was equivalent to Lu Ming and Gu Changfeng joining forces to attack Yi Immortal. Lu Ming and Gu Changfeng attacked with all their strength. Their individual attacks were not weaker than Yi Immortal's. The two of them joined forces and easily destroyed Yi Immortal's Genesis techniques. Berserk power continued to surge towards Yi Immortal. Yi Immortal's body shook violently as he involuntarily retreated. Swish, swish, swish. Lu Ming, Gu Changfeng, and Zi Xian charged out of the encirclement like three bolts of lightning. Gaishak and the Infernal Fiend King were blocked by the Absolute Demon Wall. Although Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji had defeated Lu Ming's Primal Desolation form, they were still one step too late. Kill! Lu Ming roared as the God of Battle Spear swept towards Yi Immortal. They had charged out of the encirclement, but they were charging in the same direction as Yi Immortal. They were very close to each other and Lu Ming naturally would not let go of this opportunity to attack. If possible, he wanted to kill Yi Immortal immediately. Yi Immortal was extremely talented and intelligent. He had limitless potential and was many times more dangerous than Yi Qiuxian. It was best to get rid of him as soon as possible. Boom! Gu Changfeng also knew how to attack. He threw a punch. Yi Immortal could not completely block the combined attacks of two top experts. He barely managed to block Gu Changfeng's attack, but he could not block Lu Ming's attack. The god of battle spear struck Yi Immortal with a clang. Yi Immortal's body was sent flying like a cannonball. However, he was wearing a top-level origin-level armor and could not be killed so easily. He was only severely injured and spat out a mouthful of blood. Oh no, Lu Ming and the others are escaping. Prince Kanglo, who was on a mountain in the distance, turned pale. He did not take action because he wanted to sit on the sidelines and watch the tigers fight. He wanted to let Lu Ming and the others fight to the death. Initially, he thought that Lu Ming would definitely die. Therefore, he did not take action. They did not want to see Lu Ming escape. Now that Lu Ming had broken out of the encirclement and was about to escape, they could not sit still anymore. Prince Kanglo and the other prince turned into two streaks of light and charged towards Lu Ming and the others. Lu Ming, this is all I can do for you. You will have to rely on yourself from now on. Princess Zhang Xian whispered. Then, there was a flash of light and she disappeared. Two more experts from the Zhang tribe are here. Lu Ming's expression changed. He wanted to continue attacking Yi Immortal and take this opportunity to get rid of him. However, there was no time left. Yuan Wuji, Yuan Liuji, Gaishak, and Lord of the Underworld were charging towards him. Together with the two experts from the Zhang tribe, he would not be able to escape if he was surrounded again. Not to mention, the creatures of the three Forbidden Grounds had many terrifying combined formations. Previously, these combined formations were far away and they felt that the invincible Divine Masters were more than enough to deal with Lu Ming. Therefore, they did not come in time. Now, they were rushing over with all their might and could not afford any delay. Let's go! Lu Ming and the other two did not continue attacking Yi Immortal. Instead, they dashed into the distance like three streaks of lightning. Go after them. Don't even think about escaping. Yuan Wuji and Gaishak roared as they chased after Lu Ming and the others. The Primordial Light tribe and the Evil Yin tribe were good at speed. The four of them were astonishingly fast and they gradually closed the distance between them and Lu Ming and the others. In fact, Lu Ming was not slow. However, Zixian was even faster. She flapped her ancient demon wings and traveled thousands of miles in an instant. She was even faster than Lu Ming. However, Gu Changfeng was slightly slower. Therefore, the distance between them and Yuan Wuji and the others was closing. Chapter 49-24. Senior Gu Changfeng, please enter my ancient desolation ring. Lu Ming sent a message to Gu Changfeng and opened the ancient desolation ring to let Gu Changfeng enter. After Gu Changfeng entered the ancient desolation ring, Lu Ming and Zixian were able to fly at full speed. They were not any slower than Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji. As for the two experts of the Zhang tribe in the combined formation, they could not catch up. Soon, they were left far behind until they could no longer be seen. Only Yuan Wuji, Yuan Liuji, Gaishak, and Lord of the Underworld were still following Lu Ming and Zixian. They were too fast. After a while, they flew out of the island and arrived at the sea. Purple Heaven Grotto had been severely damaged. The ground had cracked and seawater was pouring in. Huge waves were surging. Damn it! Yuan Wuji, Gaishak, and the others roared furiously. However, they could not catch up with Lu Ming and the others. They did not want to chase anymore. They might not be able to catch up even if they continued. Moreover, there were only 4 of them and 3 of Lu Ming's group. Even if they caught up with Lu Ming and the others, they could not do anything to them. Instead of wasting time, they might as well go back and plunder resources. After all, the most important goal of the 3 Forbidden Grounds was to plunder resources and awaken more of their people. Forget it. I'll let them go this time. Yuan Wuji was the first to stop. Once Yuan Wuji stopped, Yuan Liuji, the king of Spectre, and the king of Nether Demons stopped as well. They watched Lu Ming and Zi Xian disappear before their eyes. They had no choice but to return. When they saw Prince Kanglo and Zi Xian, they naturally questioned them about why they did not help them earlier. Naturally, Prince Tsong Luo and Prince Tsong Luo found a random excuse. Lu Ming and Zi Xian got rid of Yuan Wuji and the others and stopped on the sea. With a wave of his hand, Gu Changfeng appeared from the ancient desolation ring. "Thank you for your help this time." Lu Ming cupped his fists in gratitude. "Lu Ming, you don't have to thank me. Back then, you saved the demon race, so I have to repay my debt. This is my way of repaying you. From now on, we don't owe each other anything." Zi Xian said. She looked at Lu Ming with a complicated expression. "Miss Zi Xian, are we really going to become enemies?" Lu Ming frowned slightly. "If it was just me, I wouldn't care. However, this concerns the fate of the demon race. I can't ignore it. Otherwise, I won't be able to answer to them." Zi Xian sighed. Lu Ming had a taboo body, and the power he controlled was the power of the universe. The stronger he was, the greater the suppression he would have on the abyssals. The cultivation of the abyssal race would become increasingly difficult, and in the end, it would be difficult for them to make any breakthroughs. If this continued, sooner or later, they would be destroyed. If other demons knew about this, even though Lu Ming had helped them before, he would probably become their enemy. After all, this was not a personal grudge, but a matter that concerned the survival of their race. Lu Ming could understand Zi Xian's thoughts. Furthermore, Zi Xian had now merged with the ancestral demon blood crystal and represented the hope of the demon race. "I can only try my best not to be your enemy, but no one can predict what the future will be like. See you again. Goodbye." Zi Xian cupped her fists and flapped her demon wings. She was already far away. "Lu Ming, it was a good time to get rid of Zi Xian just now. After all, she has merged with the ancestral demon blood crystal and has endless potential. I'm afraid she will be our greatest enemy in the future." Gu Changfeng said. "Senior Gu, Zi Xian has just helped me, and you want me to attack her now? This is definitely not something I can do. Don't mention this again in the future." Lu Ming said in a deep voice, looking somewhat displeased. He had his principles. Although he and Zi Xian could not be considered as friends, before this, they were not considered as enemies either. Furthermore, Zi Xian had just helped him out of danger. How could he turn hostile and attack her immediately? Even if they were to become enemies in the future, they would meet on the battlefield. Lu Ming, don't be angry. I was just testing you. You are indeed a good person who can distinguish between kindness and hatred. I like you." Gu Changfeng laughed heartily and patted Lu Ming on the shoulder. "Is Heaven Destroyer destined to be the enemy of the demons?" Lu Ming sighed and couldn't help but think of the future that the Forbidden Sword ancestor, Tang Feng, had seen. Tang Feng had seen that Heaven Destroyer would have a great battle with the demons in the future. In the beginning, the demons were controlled by the heavenly human race with the ancestral demon insect and besieged the Heaven Destroyer's base. At that time, Lu Ming thought that was the future that Tang Feng had seen. But later, Lu Ming sneaked into the dark universe and helped the demons get the ancestral demon blood crystal and get rid of the ancestral demon insect. They fought against the heavenly human race together, and Heaven Destroyer and the demons became allies. Lu Ming thought that the future that Tang Feng saw was wrong, or that he didn't see that far. But now, it seemed that Tang Feng had seen even further. After going around in circles, Heaven Destroyer and the demons were still going to become enemies in the end? It was because of him, and it was also because of him that they separated. The world was really strange. After all, Lu Ming was someone who had been through a lot. He adjusted his mood very quickly. "Senior Gu, how did you and Zi Xian come here and find me?" Lu Ming asked curiously. Even if Gu Changfeng and Zi Xian came to the Purple Heaven Immortal Kingdom, how did they know about his whereabouts? Lu Ming didn't believe that it was such a coincidence that Gu Changfeng and Zi Xian happened to see him being besieged by Yi Immortal and the others. Also, Yi Immortal took out a dozen heads of Heaven Destroyer's men. Did you meet the Yi Immortal? Where are the others? How are they now? Before Gu Changfeng answered, Lu Ming asked a few more questions. More importantly, he had been keeping these questions in his heart for a long time and he couldn't help but ask them all at once. Ah, look at how anxious you are. Don't worry, most of them are fine. Let me tell you in detail. Gu Changfeng smiled and told him everything that had happened in the past 2 years. It turned out that 2 years ago, Heaven Destroyer and the demons had been hiding near the realm aura with the 4 statues. After Lu Ming and the others left, they had been hiding there. A few months had passed just like that. Lion and the others guessed that the creatures in the realm aura should have left and they sent people to investigate. But they didn't expect to attract the Yi Immortal. Yi Immortal arrived and killed hundreds of Heaven Destroyer and the demons. With Yi Immortal's combat strength, Heaven Destroyer and the demons were no match for Heaven Destroyer and the demons. If this continued, they would really be wiped out. At the critical moment, Zi Xian successfully merged with the demon ancestor blood crystal and her combat strength increased tremendously. With the help of the demon ancestor blood crystal, she defeated Yi Immortal. After that, the two sides quickly moved to another place to hide. After Yi Immortal was defeated, he left the realm aura not long after. No one knew if he was afraid of Zi Xian's combat strength or if he had something else to do. A few months later, there was almost no one in the realm aura. The heavenly human tribe, quasi-immortal tribe and the creatures in the realm aura had all left. Heaven Destroyer and the demons successfully found the 4 statues and started to comprehend them according to Lu Ming and the others. Chapter 49-25. Gu Changfeng continued to talk about their experiences during this period of time. Heaven Destroyer and Fiend found the 4 statues and began to comprehend them. They had heard from Lu Ming, Dandan, and the others how mysterious the statues were, so they were naturally looking forward to it. But after comprehending them, they found that Fiend couldn't comprehend them at all. To be more precise, Fiend was under the statues, but the statues didn't react at all. No matter what method they used, there was no reaction. But Heaven Destroyer's people comprehended under the statues, and the statues reacted. There were many different races in the Heaven Exterminating Army. The human race, the Heavenly Earth race, the Heavenly Heart race, the Primordial Divine Spirit race, and so on. But no matter what race they were, the statues would react, and they could all obtain heaven-defying fortunes under the statues. They couldn't figure it out no matter how hard they racked their brains. In the end, Fiend voluntarily gave up, and Heaven Destroyer's people continued to comprehend. In the past 2 years, Heaven Destroyer's people had made great gains. Those with lower cultivations and weaker talents were able to improve their secret skills by leaps and bounds. As a result, their battle prowess had also improved significantly. Those with great talent had made even greater gains. Some people's secret arts had not only improved tremendously, but their power had also reached a new level, and they had even grasped the outline of Genesis arts. Even though it was just an outline, if word got out, who knew how many people would go crazy with envy? Once one grasped the outline of a Genesis art, it meant that one had taken half a step into the door of Genesis arts. Once one broke through to the origin realm in the future, comprehending Genesis arts would be 10 times or even 100 times easier. It should be said that many origin realm existences hadn't comprehended Genesis arts, and they were still struggling in the process of comprehending Genesis arts. Of course, the outline of a Genesis art couldn't be comprehended so easily. Those who could comprehend the outline were all top figures, such as Lion, Tang Jian, Rong Jin, Divine Lord Meng Su, and the others. They were all extremely talented figures who had been at the peak of the Divine Lord realm for a long time. Gu Changfeng, in particular, had comprehended a Genesis art in one go, which made his peak battle prowess soar. Once he used a Genesis art, he would be comparable to an invincible Divine Lord. This enlightenment had greatly increased the overall strength of the Heaven Destroyer. The demons could only be envious. At this moment, the entire Purple Heaven Wonderland was collapsing even more. Everywhere, the sky was falling and the earth was cracking. It was a scene of doomsday. If this continued, it would be very dangerous. Therefore, the Heaven Destroyer and the demons arranged for some of the weaker cultivators to take the crossing flying ship and leave Purple Heaven Cave first. Some of the stronger ones continued to stay in the Purple Heaven Cave to search for treasures. At the same time, Gu Changfeng, Lion, Tang Jian, Rong Jin, and Zi Xian were heading towards the Zi Shao Immortal Kingdom. Firstly, they wanted to try their luck in the Zi Shao Immortal Kingdom. Secondly, they wanted to see how Lu Ming and the others were doing. However, before they reached the Zi Shao Immortal Kingdom, they met Bubble halfway. Through Bubble, they learned about the current situation in the Zi Shao Immortal Kingdom. They followed Bubble and found the place where Xian Yanqing, Autumn Moon, and Dandan were staying. Through Dandan and the others, they learned about the battle between Lu Ming and Yi Immortal. Because they were worried about Lu Ming's safety, Gu Changfeng and Zi Xian hurried over. Lu Ming knew everything that happened after that. I see. Elder Gu and the others met Bubble halfway. No wonder they could arrive so quickly and find me so accurately. Lu Ming had been puzzled. Even if Bubble had rushed back to find Gu Changfeng and the others, it should not have been so fast. It turned out that they had met halfway. At the same time, Lu Ming was relieved. Heaven Destroyer's losses were not that great. Although Yi Immortal had killed many people, some important people were still alive. Let's go back and find them, lest they worry, Lu Ming said. He immediately returned with Gu Changfeng and saw Xian Yanqing, Dandan, and the others. Seeing that Lu Ming had returned, Xian Yanqing and the others were naturally overjoyed. When they learned about Zi Xian, they all sighed. Over the years, they had cooperated with the demons and had become a force. The two sides could only gain a foothold in the universe ruins if they worked together. After parting ways with the demons, their strength would be greatly reduced and the situation would be even more difficult in the future. They had to obtain more resources in the Zi Shao Grotto Heaven to increase the strength of the Heaven Destroyer so that it would not be destroyed by other forces. They needed chaos gems, divine medicines, and divine weapons. Most importantly, they needed the carrier of the combined attack array. With the carrier of the combined attack array, normal divine masters could make use of their advantage in numbers and defeat the stronger ones. Senior Lion, you're just in time. You can set up the combined attack array with Shao Qing and Dandan, Lu Ming said. The combined attack array in their hands needed 12 people to set it up perfectly. After all, it was a 12-person combined attack array. There were only 10 people including Lu Ming before, so it was impossible for them to make use of the true power of the combined attack array. They had always felt that the joint attack formation was no small matter. Although it was only a 12-person combined attack array, it was extremely mysterious. Once it was used perfectly, it would definitely be more powerful than other combined attack arrays. However, it would be a waste for Lu Ming to set up the combined attack array. Lu Ming already had the power of an invincible divine master, so it would be a waste for him to set up the combined attack array. He wouldn't be able to make use of his advantages. It was the same for Gu Changfeng. When he used Genesis techniques, his power was comparable to an invincible divine master. However, when setting up the combined attack array, using Genesis techniques wouldn't increase the power of the combined attack array. Instead, it would disrupt the balance of the combined attack array. Besides them, there were also Xian Yanqing, Autumn Moon, Ling Yue, Dandan, Bubbles, Wan Xin, Tang Jun, Qiu and Guimo. There were a total of 9 people. In addition to Lion, Tang Jian and Rong Jin, there were 12 people. They could set up a perfect combined attack array. Lion, Tang Jian and Rong Jin naturally wouldn't refuse. Although Lion had the power of the strongest Lord of Heaven, Tang Jian and Rong Jin also had the power of the top Lord of Heaven. They could be considered experts below the origin level. However, in the current situation, facing the creatures of the Forbidden Grounds, this little bit of power was clearly not enough. Only by setting up the combined attack array would they be qualified to compete with the experts of the Forbidden Grounds. Only then would they be able to play a role in the later battles. In fact, there was another expert in the Heaven Destroyer who was comparable to the strongest Lord of Heaven. He was Tiger, who was as famous as Lion. When the 20 strongest Lord of Heaven of the Heavenly Human Clan attacked the Heaven Destroyer base, Tiger had helped. However, Tiger had been injured and hadn't recovered. After the battle, he went back to sleep to recover. This time, he didn't enter the Purple Heaven Grotto Heaven. Lu Ming, what about you? What's your plan next? Dandan asked Lu Ming. The creatures of the three forbidden grounds and the Yi immortal joined forces to kill me. How can I let this matter go? Lu Ming grinned, revealing 2 rows of snow-white teeth. His eyes were filled with cold, murderous intent. I knew you wouldn't let this matter go. Tell me, what are you going to do? Dandan laughed. Chapter 49-26. The goal of the 3 forbidden lands is to obtain more resources and awaken more of their people. Therefore, they can't continue to work together. They will probably split up soon. When the time comes, Senior Gu and I will hunt down the people who are setting up the formation so that they won't be able to set up the formation. Lu Ming said. Then he looked at Bubbles and said, Bubbles, I'll have to trouble you to investigate the movements of the 3 forbidden lands' living beings. No problem, leave it to me. Bubble patted her small chest, and with a sway of her body, she disappeared from where she stood. Meanwhile, Dandan began to instruct Lion, Tang Jian, and Rong Jin to comprehend the formation of the formation. Xian Yanqing, Autumn Moon, and the others had already memorized the formation on the formation carrier, so there was no need for them to comprehend it. Lion, Tang Jian, and Rong Jin first needed to completely comprehend the runic formations in their respective carriers before they could work together with others to set up the formations and polish their tacit understanding and cooperation. Time passed quickly and more than 10 days passed. Lion, Tang Jian, and Rong Jin had more or less finished comprehending when Bubble returned. At first, the 3 forbidden lands living beings worked together to search for Big Brother Lu Ming. However, in the past 2 days, they have split up and each occupied a meridian. Moreover, they have sent their experts into the meridian. I believe that they have entered the meridian to investigate. Bubbles recounted what she had seen and heard over the past few days. With Bubbles' control of space-time, she could hide in the dark and observe. As long as her origin did not appear, no one would be able to discover her. Invincible divine masters were only powerful in battle. Their spiritual senses were definitely not comparable to a true origin. It seems that the living beings of the 3 forbidden lands can't wait any longer and want to enter the meridian to seize the treasure. Lu Ming muttered. In fact, the heavenly abode divine light emitted from the meridian was not very strong recently. Not to mention invincible divine masters, even royal ambassadors would be able to block it and enter the meridian. However, the various factions still did not dare to enter, mainly because they were afraid that there would be heavenly abode divine beasts inside. The strength of the heavenly abode was too terrifying. Even the invincible divine masters could not withstand it. But now, the beings of the 3 great forbidden grounds could not wait any longer. They sent out a small number of experts to explore the Qi meridian. If there were really heavenly abode beasts, the losses would be minimal. If there were none, they could enter the Qi meridian to seize the resources. Lu Ming, do you want to fight? Gu Changfeng said with a murderous look in his eyes. Of course. Bubble, take us there. Lu Ming said. In order to silently kill the creatures of the forbidden area and the people who set up the joint attack formation, they still needed Bubble's space-time power. If it were just Lu Ming and Gu Changfeng, they would have been discovered by the other party before they even got close. Although doing so would delay Bubble's run-in with the others, there was no better choice. However, it wasn't too bad that Bubble was one less person. Bubble was already very familiar with this joint attack formation. As long as the other 11 succeeded in breaking in, Bubble would join in later and the breaking in speed would be very fast. Immediately, the 3 of them set off while the others continued to practice the joint attack formation. Let's go to the place where the Primordial Light Clan is located. It's closest to us, Bubble said. Soon they arrived. The Primordial Light Clan occupied a Qi meridian and there were a few thousand of them scattered around the Qi meridian. Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji were guarding the 2 sides and glancing around. Lu Ming, do you know that those people set up the joint attack formation? Gu Changfeng asked. Roughly. Lu Ming nodded and said. Lu Ming might not know about those who set up the joint attack formation of 7, 9, or 12 people. But Lu Ming knew all about those who set up the joint attack formation of 21 or 18 people. When Lu Ming had agreed to fight with Yi Immortal, The creatures of the three great forbidden grounds had already set up the most terrifying joint attack formation to kill Lu Ming. Lu Ming's memory was amazing. He only glanced at it and remembered the appearance and the life origin energy of those who set up the formation. Now it came in handy. Those. Lu Ming pointed out the members of the Primordial Light clan who set up the joint attack formation of 21 or 18 people to Bubbles and Gu Changfeng. Then, they approached the Primordial Light clan. Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji didn't notice them because they were covered by the power of time and space. However, Bubbles' cultivation was limited after all. If she was too close to Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji, they would definitely notice her. However, Lu Ming's target wasn't Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji. Lu Ming bellowed in a low voice and immediately made his move. The war god's spear suddenly pierced out. This was performed by using the heaven-splitting move. Its power was shocking as it charged toward the few experts from the Primordial Light clan. At the same time, Gu Changfeng also attacked. He threw out the bright moon long wind fist and a terrifying fist aura blasted towards the Primordial Light clan. Lu Ming, be careful. As soon as Lu Ming and Gu Changfeng attacked, Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji discovered them. The two of them roared angrily and pounced on Lu Ming. However, it was too late. 3 elites of the Primordial Light clan were pierced by the spear radiance and killed. Forbidden power swept out and swept the 3 swords into the ancient desolation ring. These 3 swords were the carriers of the joint attack formation of 21 people. Without these 3 swords, the joint attack formation of 21 people was as good as useless. Gu Changfeng's fist aura was even more overbearing. It blasted down and killed 5 people in an instant. More than 10 people were seriously injured and sent flying. Of course, not all of them were the ones who had set up the joint attack formation. Only 3 of them were. The rest were hit by the fist aura. The carriers of the joint attack formation of the 3 people were also taken away by Gu Changfeng. Retreat. After the successful attack, Lu Ming and the others quickly retreated under the cover of the power of time and space, causing Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji's attacks to miss. It's the power of time and space. Lu Ming, you are courting death. Yuan Wuji roared as if he had gone crazy. Thousands of light beams shot out and filled the void. It was a shocking scene. However, Lu Ming and the others dodged easily and did not confront Yuan Wuji directly. Lu Ming and Gu Changfeng were not afraid of Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji. However, there was no need to do so because their combat strength was on par with each other. Even if they fought, it would be difficult to determine the winner in a short time, let alone kill each other. Hence, it was better to avoid fighting. Lu Ming and the others' target was not Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji, but the other members of the Primordial Light clan. Swoosh, Lu Ming and the others kept flashing and appearing in another direction before continuing to attack. This time, Lu Ming used the ancient desolation style. A piece of land with a radius of 10 miles was formed and pressed down on the Primordial Light clan, attacking them indiscriminately. The ancient desolation style formed a real ancient desolation continent. On the continent, there were rays of light and mountains and lakes could be seen clearly. It carried the mighty power of the world as it pressed down. Suddenly, dozens of Primordial Light clan members were turned into ashes. Chapter 49-27. Lu Ming had used the desolation move to kill dozens of Primordial Light tribe members. Although only a few of them had set up a 21-man or 18-man formation, it was still enough. If they wanted to break the enemy's formation, they only needed to kill a few of them and snatch the carrier of the formation. That would be enough. When Lu Ming made his move, Gu Changfeng also made his move. He used the bright moon wind fist to kill more than 10 Primordial Light tribe members. After that, the 2 of them retreated quickly. Lu Ming, come out and fight me if you dare. Why are you acting so sneakily? Yuan Liuji shouted angrily. Gather together and set up the formation. Set up the formation. Yuan Liuji shouted and appeared above the heads of the other Primordial Light tribe members to prevent Lu Ming and the others from launching a sneak attack. The Primordial Light tribe members quickly gathered together and set up a joint attack array formation. 7-man joint attack formation, 9-man joint attack formation, 12-man joint attack formation. There were even 21-man formation. However, there was only one formation left of the 20-man joint attack. Originally, the Primordial Light clan had 4 21-man combined array formations. However, Lu Ming and the rest launched 2 sneak attacks and killed some of the people who had set up 3 of the 21-man combined array formations, snatching away the carriers of the combined array formations. This meant that the 3 21-man joint attack formations were now useless. Damn it! Damn it! Yuan Liuji shouted angrily, his face distorted. He was furious. He was really furious. He could not wait to fight with Lu Ming. However, the void was very quiet. Lu Ming and the others were nowhere to be seen. This was because Lu Ming and the others had already left. The other party had made strict preparations. It would be very difficult to launch a sneak attack. They have probably left to attack the Malevolent Yin tribe or the Blue Sea tribe. Lu Ming is taking revenge on us. Should we inform the Malevolent Yin tribe or the Blue Sea tribe? Yuan Liuji asked. Although they had said this, they did not dare to relax. They were on high alert. Why should we inform them? We've lost so many of our 21-man joint attack formations. Our overall strength is no longer as strong as the Dark Yin race and the Blue Sea race. We have to make them suffer, Yuan Wuji said with a cold glint in his eyes. In the end, the races of the 3 Forbidden Lands were in a competitive relationship. They weren't having a good time, so they naturally didn't want others to have a good time. Lu Ming's second target was the Baleful Yin race. The Baleful Yin race members also gathered around a Qi vein. The Baleful Yin race and the others were much more guarded than the Primordial Light race. After all, the Baleful Yin race had already suffered greatly at the hands of Lu Ming and Bubbles last time. Gaishak and Nether Fiend King did not dare to be careless. However, in the end, Lu Ming and the others still found a chance to strike. They killed dozens of baleful Yin beings and destroyed several of their combined attack formations. Then they quickly left. According to the plan, the next step was to find the CC race. However, Lu Ming decided not to go in the end. Princess Zhang Xian of the CC race had always helped him. He still owed Princess Zhang Xian a favor. Moreover, the CC race members had not attacked Lu Ming at the beginning. Speaking of which, the CC race and Lu Ming did not have a deep grudge. Lu Ming clearly distinguished between kindness and hatred. He did not want to fight for the time being. Of course, if the CC race ended up like the Baleful Yin race and the Primordial Light race in the future, Lu Ming would definitely not be polite. Let's go. Let's return to the Primordial Light race, Lu Ming said. This was just the beginning. Lu Ming would not let it go so easily. The Primordial Light race members were still on full alert. They did not have a chance to strike yet. However, they were not in a hurry. They hid in the dark and waited for an opportunity. Time passed day by day. A few days later, Lu Ming and the others saw the Primordial Light race members coming out of the Qi vein. The person who had entered the Qi vein to investigate had to be a powerhouse on the same level as the Guangxin royal envoy. After coming out, he reported something to Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji. Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji were delighted when they heard this. Could there be no paradise divine beasts below the Qi vein? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat when he saw the expressions on Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji's faces. Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji seemed to be in a discussion. After a while, more than a dozen figures headed down to the Qi vein. The others continued to stay above the Qi vein. Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji did not go down either. Clearly, they did not dare go down. They wanted to stay above to guard against Lu Ming and the others. In the blink of an eye, a few more days passed. The Primordial Light race members finally let down their guard. Lu Ming and the others did not appear again. Furthermore, the combined formation of the Primordial Light race could not be set up and operated continuously. Setting up a combined formation consumed a lot of energy. During this period of time, the Primordial Light tribe's joint attack formation had been set up. However, it was also very tiring and consumed a lot of the people setting up the formation. Once they let down their guard, Lu Ming and the others immediately attacked and killed dozens of Primordial Light race members in an instant. This made Yuan Wuji and Yuan Liuji go crazy. They roared angrily and attacked the void frantically. However, Lu Ming and the others quickly retreated and went to the malevolent Yin race. They found an opportunity to launch another wave of attacks and kill dozens of malevolent Yin race members. The members of the two races were about to go crazy. They gathered together and did not dare relax. Lu Ming and the others waited for a few more days before they realized that the malevolent Yin race, the primordial light race, and the blue sea race had joined forces again. They gathered above a chi vein and reached some sort of agreement. They sent people into the chi vein to excavate resources while the invincible Almighty stood guard above. "Let's go back," Lu Ming said. There were 6 invincible Almighties among the creatures of the 3 forbidden lands. They did not have a chance to attack. Once they were trapped, they would be in danger. They went back. "Bubbles, did you find any trace of Yi Immortal a while ago?" Lu Ming asked on the way. If they had found Yi Immortal, now would be the best time to attack. He and Gu Changfeng might be able to kill Yi Immortal if they joined forces. Even if they could not, they could severely injure him. "No, this guy seems to have disappeared without a trace. I think he's hiding somewhere," Bubbles said. "This guy is not easy to deal with." Lu Ming sighed. He was not too disappointed. Yi Immortal was not easy to deal with. Not long after, they returned. Bubbles joined Dandan and the others to practice the formation. 12 silhouettes flashed, and a huge figure condensed into one. The figure was covered in a black and ferocious battle armor. The spikes on the armor were extremely sharp, and the aura it emitted was extremely cold. It was a pitch-black halberd with a sharp edge. Its entire body was filled with a terrifying aura. Indeed, the aura of a formation formed by 12 people is completely different. It's much stronger than a formation formed by 10 people. This joint attack formation is indeed extraordinary, Lu Ming thought to himself. Chapter 49-28. The carrier of the combined attack array was found under a small chi meridian. The chi meridian was not big and there were no buildings on it. It was obvious that no one lived there in the last era. However, there was a dwelling beneath such a small vein of chi. It was concealed by a formation and was extremely well hidden. If it were not for the collapse of the Purple Heaven Grotto Heaven and Dandan's extremely sensitive perception of formations, they probably would not have discovered it. Lu Ming and the others had obtained 2 things from the cave residents. One was the combined attack array of 12 people, and the other was a book. Lu Ming and the others did not recognize the words on it. They had judged that it was from the last era. However, when Lion translated those scrolls previously, Lu Ming conveniently passed this book to Lion so that it could translate the content in the book. However, Lu Ming was disappointed. Lion did not recognize the words on it either. Lion speculated that the words on it were either very obscure words from the last era or not from the last era. Lu Ming could only keep it and slowly explore the contents in the future. He vaguely felt that this book was extraordinary. The carrier of the combined attack array that was placed together with this book could not be ordinary. It was indeed very powerful. However, Lu Ming could see that the black-armored warrior was not very solid yet. This was because Lion, Tang Jian, and Rong Jin did not have a good rapport with the others. They needed to continue working together. The 12 of them continued to work on the array formation. Only Lu Ming and Gu Changfeng were free. "By the way, Senior Gu, I would like to ask you something. When a forbidden body reaches the 9th level Divine Master Realm, does the universal bridge formed end at the cosmic sea or does it continue to extend?" Lu Ming began to ask about the universal bridge. His universal bridge, which was the yellow mud road, continued to extend after it reached the cosmic sea. It was blocked by a layer of barrier. He wanted to continue to look but could not do so. He had known for a long time that other cultivators were not like this. However, he was not sure if it was the same for other forbidden bodies. He had wanted to ask Gu Changfeng for advice. Now that he was free, he naturally could not miss it. "It continues to extend?" Strange. Hearing Lu Ming's explanation, Gu Changfeng was amazed. "Senior, are you not?" Lu Ming asked. No, my cosmic bridge is no different from the others. As far as I know, the other taboo bodies are the same as mine. I've never heard of a situation like yours. Could it be that the taboo bodies have mutated? Or is it because you have successfully cultivated the 3,000 ancient secret techniques? Gu Changfeng murmured. He could not figure it out either. The other taboo bodies are different from mine. How am I different from the other taboo bodies? Is it really because I comprehended the 3,000 ancient secret techniques? Lu Ming's mind kept spinning. He had a vague feeling that things were not that simple. His cosmic bridge was already different from others when it was first formed. It was a yellow muddy road. On the yellow muddy road, there was a pool of blood. That pool of blood also contained a terrifying power. Twice, it had caused his battle prowess to skyrocket at critical moments. At that time, he had yet to comprehend the 3,000 ancient secret skills. I'll have to ask Senior Fei Huang or Senior Tang Feng in the future. Lu Ming thought and hid the questions he couldn't figure out. Then, Lu Ming asked Gu Changfeng some questions about cultivation. Gu Changfeng's power had already reached the peak of the Divine Master level. If he hadn't been injured and had been in a deep sleep, he would have reached the origin level. So, Gu Changfeng had a lot of ideas about how to reach the peak of the Divine Master level. Lu Ming could also learn from him. 7 days passed quickly. Xian Yanqing, Dandan, Lion, and the rest of the 12 people's joint attack array had finally reached a perfect state. Once they cast it, a ferocious black-armored warrior appeared, exuding a terrifying aura. It was as if the invincible warrior of the previous era had come back to life. Even Lu Ming felt pressured. Once they attacked, their power would definitely be extraordinary. At the same time, Lu Ming asked Bubbles to go out and check the movements of the creatures in the Forbidden Ground. Bubbles left, but soon came back and brought back the movements of the creatures in the Forbidden Ground. The evil Yin race, Yuanguang race, and Songming race were still working together, but they had left the Meridian last time and went to a neighboring one. But this time, the invincible divine masters like Gaishak, Lord of Hell, Yuan Wuji, Yuan Liuji, and Prince Kanglo weren't there. Even the overlords at the level of Lord Guangqian weren't there. However, almost all the masters who had set up the combined attack were there. Gaishak, Yuan Wuji, and the others aren't here. Did they go deep into the Meridian to dig for deity crystals and deity stones? Lu Ming had an idea. If that was the case, it would be another chance to kill the creatures in the Forbidden Ground and break their combined attack. But was it really that simple? Not long ago, the Dark Spectre clan and the Primordial Light clan had already suffered a great loss at Lu Ming's hands. It had only been a few days and these people had already forgotten the pain and were no longer guarding against Lu Ming? Or was there a conspiracy? There's someone outside. Dandan suddenly said and looked to the north. Lu Ming and the others also looked in that direction. A figure was walking through the air in the north. It's her, Princess Songxian. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The person was Princess Songxian of the Songming race. It's someone from the Songming race. She seems to be looking in our direction. Has she discovered us? Myriad gods said. Impossible. I've set up a concealment formation. My concealment formation is silent and doesn't leave any traces. I don't believe anyone below the origin realm can discover it, Dandan said. Dandan said. She was very confident in her array formation. However, Dandan shut up very soon. He was tongue-tied and his eyes were wide open. This was because Princess Songxian had stopped not far away. She was clearly looking at them with a faint smile on her face. Lu Ming, I know there's a concealment formation here. You're inside the formation. There's no need to hide. Show yourself. Princess Songxian said. What? She really discovered us? Dandan was in disbelief. The others' expressions changed as well. Had the creatures from the 3 forbidden grounds arrived? Looks like we've really been discovered. Let's go out and meet her. Lu Ming said. Since they had been discovered, there was no need to continue hiding. Lu Ming and the others stepped out and left the range of the concealment formation. They appeared in the air. Princess Songxian's expression showed that she knew it. Xian Yanqing, Autumn Moon, Dandan, Guimo, Shi, and the others scanned the surroundings and released their spiritual senses. They were ready for a battle. Don't worry. I'm the only one here. There's no one else. Princess Tsong Xian smiled. Chapter 49-29. I really want to know, how did you find this place? Lu Ming asked, his eyes narrowing slightly. Although he had cooperated with Princess Tsong Xian once and she had helped him, he was still wary of Princess Tsong Xian. He always felt that Princess Tsong Xian was very mysterious. If she wasn't mysterious, why would the princess of the Tsong Ming clan cooperate with Lu Ming? Why would she help Lu Ming? According to Yi Wuxiu, the living beings of the three forbidden lands were not living beings of the primitive universe. Lu Ming had a taboo body and controlled the power of the universe. The stronger one's cultivation was, the greater the suppression of the primitive universe on them. Any creature of the forbidden lands would probably want to kill Lu Ming. Why would they cooperate with Lu Ming and help Lu Ming? There were many suspicious points about this. Therefore, Lu Ming didn't dare to take this woman lightly. Of course it's because of this little sister that I found this place. Princess Tsong Xian smiled at Bubbles. Because of me? Bubbles was stunned. Although the power of space-time is profound, and one's movements are soundless, capable of reversing space-time. Unless one's cultivation is much higher than one's, it will be very difficult to discover one's tracks. However, it just so happens that I am extremely sensitive to any kind of energy fluctuation. This is the same for space-time. Not long ago, you were observing the creatures of the three great forbidden lands. No one else noticed, but I did. I secretly followed you. Your figure disappeared here. Needless to say, there must be a concealment array here. Princess Tsong Xian explained with a smile. She was always so confident and calm. Her cultivation was clearly only at the 9th level of the Divine Master realm, but she wasn't afraid at all when facing Lu Ming and so many other experts. This woman is really not simple to be able to detect Bubbles' power of time and space. Fortunately, this woman seems to be different from the other creatures of the Forbidden Lands, otherwise, Lu Ming thought to himself, feeling a little scared. If this woman was like the other creatures of the Forbidden Lands and wanted to kill him, it would be extremely dangerous. Just imagine, if 5 or 6 invincible divine lords, a group of Guangxin imperial emissaries, and a bunch of joint attack formations suddenly appeared and surrounded them, they would be in grave danger. The expressions of the others were also somewhat ugly. Clearly, they had the same thoughts as Lu Ming. What brings you here today? Could it be that you want to raise that condition with me? Lu Ming asked. Princess Tsong Xian shook her head and said, No, I came here today to help you. I believe you already know that the Primordial Light Tribe, the Baleful Een Tribe, and the Blue Sea Tribe have joined forces. Furthermore, the strongest unrivaled divine masters are not here. This is actually a trap to lure you into action. Although the strongest people aren't here, there are source-grade formations set up in the surroundings. Once you make a move, you'll fall into the source-grade formations. Princess Tsong Xian said. An origin-grade formation. Lion, Autumn Moon, and the others' expressions changed drastically. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed slightly. He already believed Princess Tsong Xian's words in his heart, because he already felt that the creatures of the three forbidden lands were behaving abnormally. If they had set up an origin-grade formation and were waiting for him to take the bait, then it would make sense. That's the first problem. Next is the second problem. I want to remind you that the creatures of the three forbidden lands have sent people to investigate the 9 meridians here. There are no giant beasts condensed from the heavenly divine light below. The 3 tribes have joined forces to plunder the meridians one by one. At the same time, Lu Ming can also take action and plunder the other meridians. Princess Tsong Tian said. Why are you telling me the second problem? Lu Ming asked, looking at Princess Tsong Xian in confusion. If she told him the first problem, it would be easy to understand. After all, Lu Ming promised to help Princess Tsong Xian once, but he hadn't helped Princess Tsong Xian yet. How could Princess Tsong Xian let Lu Ming be killed by Yuan Wuji, Gaishak, and the others? But the second problem was not easy to explain. Everyone knew that the creatures of the three forbidden lands needed all kinds of resources the most, such as immortal crystals, immortal stones, and various levels of divine herbs, and these resources were the most abundant under the meridians. The creatures of the three forbidden lands would plunder the meridians one by one. In the end, each tribe would be able to get the resources of 3 meridians. This was definitely a huge amount of resources that could awaken more creatures of the forbidden lands. This should be more beneficial for Princess Zhongxian. But why did Princess Zhongxian tell Lu Ming and let Lu Ming and the others go to other meridians to plunder resources? This was clearly snatching resources from the creatures of the 3 forbidden lands. What benefits would this bring to Princess Zhongxian? Take a guess. Princess Zhongxian said with a smile, smiling like a little fox. There's no need to guess because you're not from the Zhongming clan at all. A voice sounded. It was Xian Yanqing. Princess Zhongxian's expression didn't change. She was still very calm. However, the others looked at Xian Yanqing curiously, including Lu Ming. Princess Zhongxian wasn't from the Zhongming clan? They clearly saw Princess Zhongxian with the other experts of the Zhongming clan before. Could it be that someone else was impersonating her? How did Xian Yanqing see through it? Xian Yanqing stared at Princess Zhongxian with bright eyes and said, "Your disguise technique is indeed brilliant. You can even disguise the aura of life origin. I'm afraid even an ordinary life origin wouldn't be easily seen through. Unfortunately, I'm too familiar with you, Dark Knight Rose." What? Dark Knight Rose? This woman is Dark Knight Rose? Lu Ming was shocked. How many years had it been? Ever since the universe was in chaos and the universe recovered from ruins, Dark Knight Rose, Di Jinni and the others had disappeared without a trace. Could it be that Princess Zhongxian was really Dark Knight Rose in disguise? You don't have to pretend. Although your appearance and aura of life origin have changed, your expression, even your eyes, and some of your small habits can't be hidden from my eyes. I can confirm that you are Dark Knight Rose. Xian Yanqing said. Ever since Princess Zhongtian appeared, Xian Yanqing hadn't said a word. She had been secretly observing Princess Zhongxian. Because when she first saw Princess Zhongxian, she felt a sense of familiarity. Ha! Princess Zhongxian laughed so hard that her body trembled. As she laughed, her appearance and the aura of her life origin began to change drastically. In the end, her appearance completely changed. Although she was still beautiful, she didn't look like Princess Zhongxian at all. Dark Knight Rose. It was really Dark Knight Rose. I see. Lu Ming finally knew why Dark Knight Rose reminded him and why she wanted them to search for the resources in the realm meridians. Because she wasn't from the Zhongming tribe. Although Lu Ming and Dark Knight Rose didn't have a good relationship, it was better than falling into the hands of the creatures in the Forbidden Land. The creatures in the Forbidden Land could be said to be the common enemy of all the creatures in the primitive universe. Chapter 49-30. Princess Zhongxian was the Dark Knight Rose, which explained a lot of things. The resources in the meridians would be better off in Lu Ming's hands than in the hands of the creatures in the Forbidden Grounds. I knew I couldn't hide it from you. I didn't plan to keep it a secret from you. The Dark Knight Rose smiled and looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, I helped you again. Remember, you still owe me a favor. After saying that, Dark Knight Rose quickly retreated and disappeared in the blink of an eye. The Dark Knight Rose is getting more and more mysterious. Lu Ming muttered. He felt that he couldn't see through the Dark Knight Rose anymore. When the Dark Knight Rose met Xian Yanqing for the first time, she was obviously afraid of Xian Yanqing. But this time, she wasn't afraid of Xian Yanqing at all. Instead, she was very calm. Moreover, this woman's cultivation had reached the 9th level of the Divine Master realm. This speed of improvement wasn't any slower than the rest of them. This showed how talented this woman was. More importantly, she was able to sneak into the Zhongming tribe and become the princess of the Zhongming tribe. The Zhongming tribe didn't notice at all. This made it even more difficult. It could be speculated that the Dark Knight Rose most likely used the identity of Princess Zhongxian to enter the Purple Heaven Grotto. The real Princess Zhongxian was most likely killed by the Dark Knight Rose. Shao Qing, how much do you know about the Dark Night Rose? Lu Ming asked Xian Yanqing. The others also looked at Xian Yanqing. The Dark Night Rose is the one and only sky-devouring rose in the universe. Of course, she was the one who told me this name. When I first met her, she was still very weak, so I signed a contract with her. Nominally, she was my pet. However, I have never treated her as a pet, but as a sister. However, she is very ambitious and has always wanted to get rid of me and become the master of the universe. However, she has never succeeded. Later, 60 stellar years ago, a great war broke out between us and the Heavenly Palace. She and I both died in that war. I didn't expect that we would reincarnate together. Xian Yanqing said. Do you know where she came from? Lu Ming continued to ask. That's right. The heaven-devouring rose is unique in the universe. It must have parents. Could it have jumped out of a stone? Or was it like the bone demon or the primordial divine spirit, born from heaven and earth? Dandan added. Xian Yanqing shook his head and said, I don't know. Back then I asked her, but she didn't know either. Do you feel that Dark Night Rose is a little different from before? Lu Ming said. It is indeed different, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Xian Yanqing frowned. Lu Ming, what did you promise her? Then, Xian Yanqing changed the topic and asked. I'll help her do something in Zixia Grotto Heaven. Lu Ming said. We still have to be careful of her. She's full of tricks. We have to be careful. Xian Yanqing said. Don't worry. I promised her something on the premise that I won't put myself in danger. Lu Ming smiled. Then what are we going to do next? Are we going to dig out the treasures in the meridians? Dandan said. His eyes lit up when he talked about treasures. Qiuqiu's eyes also lit up. Its 2 rows of teeth were already chattering. Of course we're going to dig out those treasures. We can't let the creatures of the forbidden ground take advantage of us. But before that, let's check which meridian the creature is on, Lu Ming said. Then, Lu Ming asked the others to enter the ancient desolation ring. He and Bubbles headed towards the meridian where the creature was. Sure enough, the creature had already changed to another meridian. Obviously, the treasures in the previous meridian had already been taken. Yuan Wuji, Yuan Liuji, Gaishak and the others were not there. Only the ordinary creatures of the forbidden ground were scattered around the meridian, looking alert. Lu Ming let Dandan out of the ancient desolation ring. Dandan sensed a terrifying array formation. Anya Rose was right. The creature of the forbidden ground had indeed set up an origin-level array formation here, waiting for Lu Ming to take the bait. Let's go to the other meridian. Then Lu Ming and the others left. They went in the opposite direction of the meridian and came to another meridian on the other side of the island. There's a surveillance array formation around this meridian. Dandan stood in the void and sensed it. It seems that the creature of the forbidden ground set it up here. As soon as we appear, we will be discovered by them. Xian Yanqing said. Dandan, can you find all the surveillance arrays here and break them? Lu Ming asked. Of course, but once you break them, the creatures of the forbidden ground will immediately sense it. Dandan said. It's okay. At most, we'll change to another meridian. Lu Ming said. But Dandan nodded and began to act. Soon, all the surveillance arrays were found. Lu Ming and the others acted and all the surveillance arrays were broken. Then, they quickly left and came to another meridian. The creatures of the forbidden ground had also set up a surveillance array around this meridian. They repeated the same trick and let Dandan find it and break it. Then, they left and came to the third meridian. This meridian also had a surveillance array set up by the creatures of the forbidden ground. It seemed that the creatures of the forbidden ground had all set up surveillance arrays around the island. As long as others appeared, they would be sensed by the creatures of the forbidden ground. Lu Ming and the others destroyed all the surveillance arrays around the remaining meridian. After that, Dandan himself set up a surveillance array around the meridian. Then he randomly chose a meridian and rushed in. The surveillance arrays around 7 meridian were all broken. The creatures of the forbidden ground couldn't figure out which meridian Lu Ming and the others would enter. Even if they came with a large force, it wouldn't be easy to find Lu Ming and the others. Even if they found them, there were surveillance arrays set up by Dandan around the meridian. They could find the other party in advance and escape in advance. There's most likely a top source level divine medicine in this meridian. We can't let it escape. I'll set up the array first, Dandan said. After entering the meridian, Dandan turned into his original form and began to set up arrays along the way. His turtle shell glowed, and endless runes flew out and disappeared into the walls and the void. That kind of top source level divine medicine was too good at escaping. It was too fast. If they weren't careful, they would escape. Only by setting up the array in advance could they be confident of taking the top source level divine medicine. They went all the way down and set up arrays. After setting up arrays in this direction, they went to another direction to set up arrays. Sharpening a knife won't delay the work of cutting firewood. Compared to the value of the top source level divine medicine, these preparations were not worth mentioning. After setting up arrays in all directions, they landed at the bottom of the meridian. Chapter 49:31. As soon as they landed at the bottom of the meridian, they found a large number of immortal stones and major divine herbs. They began to loot without hesitation. After that, they continued to move forward. Finally, they arrived at the center of the meridian and found a huge immortal stone vein. Just like what they had found before, the vein was densely packed with immortal stones that were embedded in transparent rocks. In order to save time, they did not dig out the immortal stones one by one. Instead, they dug out the entire vein. This process took them a few days. Fortunately, the beings of the Forbidden Lands did not come over these few days. They were probably busy digging for their own resources. In the end, the entire vein of immortal stones was stored in Lu Ming's ancient desolate ring. Why didn't we find any top source level divine herbs? Dandan's eyes darted around as he scanned the surroundings. During this period, they had found a few ordinary source level divine herbs, but there was no sign of any top source level divine herbs. Logically speaking, there should be at least one top source level divine herb in such a large meridian. Could it have escaped before we came in? That's not impossible. Everyone discussed. A top source level divine herb had escaped from the first meridian that they had landed in. In the end, it had fallen into the hands of the Yi Immortal. It was not impossible that the top source level divine herb in this meridian had escaped long ago. Let's look around. If we can't find it, we'll go to the next meridian. Lu Ming said. They did not have much time left. The beings of the three Forbidden Lands worked together to dig out resources at an astonishing speed. Not long ago, Dandan discovered through the surveillance array that the beings of the Forbidden Lands had moved one meridian. They had already started on the third one. They had to speed up to get a piece of meat from the beings of the Forbidden Lands. Immediately, everyone spread out their spiritual senses to search for top source level divine herbs. This time, it did not take long for them to find something. Over here quick! Tang Jun suddenly shouted. Swish, swish, swish. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Dandan, and the others rushed towards Tang Jun without hesitation. That is, Lu Ming immediately discovered that there was a light flickering on Tang Jun's side, rushing into the distance. A stalk of divine medicine. That's right, it was a top-grade origin-grade divine herb. It turned out that the top-grade source-level divine medicine in this meridian had not escaped, but had been hiding in the dark all this time. When Lu Ming and the others spread out to search, they seemed to know that they could no longer hide, so they quickly fled and were discovered by Tang Jun. Lu Ming and the others pushed their speed to the limit, especially Bubble, whose speed was the fastest. She was almost as fast as a top-tier source-grade divine herb. Space-time power. Bubble thrust out a palm, and the void rippled like water. The power of space-time quickly gushed out and enveloped the top-grade source-grade divine herb. Suddenly, the top-grade source-grade divine herb's speed was greatly reduced, as if it had fallen into a swamp. But in the next moment, the top-grade source-grade divine herb's entire body glowed, and its speed suddenly increased again. In an instant, it rushed through the space-time power and continued to flee. What a powerful divine herb! This top-grade source-grade divine herb had no other abilities except for its ability to escape. It was not easy to catch up to it alone. Soon, they arrived at the edge of the meridian. "Array, rise!" At this moment, Dandan shouted in a low voice, and the turtle shell glowed. Immediately, dense runes appeared in the void, and these runes intertwined to form an array. All of them were trapping arrays. Countless threads appeared in the void like an inescapable net, enveloping the top-grade source-grade divine herb. There was no way to escape it all. The divine herb glowed, wanting to rush through these arrays. However, Lu Ming and the others had already arrived. Space-time power. Heavenly demon field. Bubble and Xian Yanqing attacked one after another. Two powerful forces supported the array and enveloped the top-grade source-grade divine herb. This time, the top-grade source-grade divine herb could no longer escape. Lu Ming condensed a large hand and grabbed it into the chaos ring. Divine herbs of all grades were stored in the chaos ring because they could be planted in the chaos ring. When not in use, they could preserve their medicinal properties. If they were stored in a storage ring and not used for a long time, their medicinal properties would definitely dissipate. With the top-grade source-grade divine herb in their hands, everyone smiled. This was definitely a great harvest. This trip was not in vain. However, they did not continue to delay. They immediately rushed to the second meridian and began to plunder resources. Dandan repeated the same trick and set up many trapping arrays in all directions of the meridian. This time, it didn't take long for them to find a top-grade source-grade divine herb in this meridian. A top-tier source-grade divine herb naturally fled as fast as it could. However, the outcome was already determined. When it reached the edge of the area, Dandan activated the array formation. Then, Xian Yanqing, Bubbles and the others joined forces and successfully captured the top-tier source-grade divine herb. 3 of them. Since entering the Purple Heaven Grotto Heaven, they had already obtained 3 of these top-grade source-grade divine herbs. As for ordinary source-grade divine herbs, they had even more. There was also a huge immortal stone vein in this meridian. Everyone worked hard to excavate it. "Not good," halfway through, Dandan suddenly exclaimed. "What's wrong? Did the creatures of the Forbidden Lands come to this meridian?" Bubble quickly asked. The others' faces also changed. If the creatures of the 3 Forbidden Lands happened to come to this meridian, they would have to give up on digging and retreat in advance. "No, it's the monitoring array formation I set up. It's all been destroyed," Dandan said. "Is it from this meridian or the other meridian?" Lu Ming asked. "It's from all the meridian. Just now, the surveillance array I set up around all the meridian was destroyed. It must be the doing of the creatures of the Forbidden Lands." Dandan said. "It's all destroyed. It seems that the creatures of the Forbidden Lands are about to make a move," Lu Ming said with a solemn expression. Once the surveillance array was destroyed, they couldn't grasp the whereabouts of the creatures of the Forbidden Lands. If the creatures of the Forbidden Lands entered this meridian, they wouldn't be able to detect them. "Let's continue digging." Dandan set up surveillance arrays at all the exits of the meridian. Once the creatures of the Forbidden Lands come here, we'll retreat in another direction. Lu Ming said. The creatures of the Forbidden Lands probably didn't know which meridian they were under. According to what Dandan saw through the surveillance array, the creatures of the Forbidden Lands had already plundered 3 meridians in a row and entered the 4th. The 4th meridian was probably almost completely plundered. Of the 9 meridians, there were still 5 that had not been plundered by the creatures of the Forbidden Grounds. There was a 1/5 chance that the creatures of the Forbidden Lands might not coincidentally enter this meridian. They still had time. He was truly unwilling to give up on an entire immortal stone vein after excavating half of it. Chapter 49-32. Dandan went to set up the formation, while Lu Ming and the others continued to dig. Fortunately, the creatures of the Forbidden Lands did not come to this meridian. After 2 meridians, they successfully dug out the entire meridian. Then they left the meridian. Sure enough, the creatures of the Forbidden Lands have set up a surveillance formation around the meridian. Watch me break it. Lu Ming and the others floated above the meridian. Dandan glanced around. The turtle shell glowed, and a large number of runes flew out, breaking the surveillance formation around the meridian. Let's go. Our whereabouts must have been discovered by the creatures of the Forbidden Lands. Lu Ming said. Since the creatures of the Forbidden Lands had set up another surveillance formation around the meridian, they would have been discovered when they flew out of the meridian. Perhaps the experts of the 3 clans of the Forbidden Lands had already come. It was not good to stay for long. Lu Ming and the group left the place quickly. They only came to a stop after flying for a long distance. Now, the 3 clans of the Forbidden Lands must have entered the 5th meridian. We have already dug out 2, so there are 2 more left. Do you want to go? Dandan asked, looking at Lu Ming and the others. If we go now, the chances of encountering the 3 clans of the Forbidden Lands are too high. Lion shook his head. There were still 2 meridian that had not been dug out, and the creatures of the Forbidden Lands had set up surveillance formations around the meridian. Even if Dandan could break these surveillance formations, the chances of encountering the creatures of the Forbidden Lands were still very high. The 3 clans of the Forbidden Lands had 6 invincible divine masters and a large number of Guangqin imperial envoys. Once they were surrounded, they would be doomed. Forget it. Let's wait for the ancient city in the middle. Lu Ming also shook his head and gave up on digging the meridian. Their strength was still too weak. If they were as strong as the 3 clans of the Forbidden Lands, they would not have to be afraid. They could compete with the other party openly. The others did not object. They came to the ancient city in the middle and found a more remote place, where Dandan set up a concealment formation. They intended to wait here. As the meridians collapsed one by one, the resources inside were dug out. The ancient city could no longer absorb energy, and the power of the formations around the city walls became weaker and weaker. He believed that it would not be long before the array around the city walls dissipated. At that time, he believed that he would be able to enter the ancient city. This ancient city might very well be the true core of the Violet Firmament Immortal Empire. A place where an immortal was in charge was definitely not a small matter. Divine weapons, divine medicines, immortal stones, immortal crystals, joint attack array carriers, all kinds of ancient books, chi refinement arts, and so on. Just thinking about this made people's hearts burn. In the blink of an eye, another few days passed. On this day, Lu Ming suddenly received a voice transmission. It was from Firmament, saying that there was something important to discuss with him. Song Qiong, you also came here? I thought no one from the quasi-immortal race came. Lu Ming muttered. As the number of experts in the forbidden area increased, it could be said that experts were as common as clouds on this island, and the quasi-saint race was gradually not enough. This was because the quasi-immortal race did not have an invincible divine master expert overseeing it. It was very difficult for them to compete with other forces. Lu Ming originally thought that the quasi-immortal race had not come to this island. Now it seemed that the quasi-immortal race had come, but they were hiding in the dark. Lu Ming, the quasi-immortal race's people, be careful of traps. Xian Yanqing warned. They did not forget the battle between Lu Ming and the Yi Immortal. The Yi Immortal and the 3 races of the Forbidden Area had joined forces, and Lu Ming had almost been in danger. Who knew if Firmament would also join forces with the 3 races of the Forbidden Area to trick Lu Ming? They had to be on guard. As if afraid that Lu Ming would be on guard, Firmament sent another message. Brother Lu, the celestial race and the creatures of the Forbidden Area are not from this universe, which is why they are hostile to you. My quasi-immortal race is a native of the primitive universe, and we have the same origin. The stronger you are, the more advantageous it is for my race. Why would we harm you? It seemed that Firmament already knew that the Yi Immortal and the 3 races of the Forbidden Area had joined forces to kill Lu Ming. Furthermore, Firmament also knew the secret of the forbidden power. The quasi-immortal race really knew a lot of secrets. However, as Firmament had said, Firmament had no reason to join forces with the creatures of the Forbidden Area. But he had to be on guard. Lu Ming replied to Firmament that Lu Ming had set the location and time to meet. Soon after, Lu Ming set off with Dandan and Bubbles. Bringing along Dandan was to prevent them from being tricked by the creatures of the forbidden area. Bringing along bubbles would allow them to escape quickly. Soon, Lu Ming arrived at the destination. Dandan observed for a while and didn't find any formation fluctuations in the surroundings. However, they didn't show themselves immediately. Instead, they continued to cover their bodies with the space-time force and hid in the dark to observe. Soon after, a figure arrived at lightning speed. Who else could it be other than Firmament? Firmament was the only one who came. After confirming that there was no danger, Lu Ming showed himself. Brother Lu, Firmament was delighted to see Lu Ming. He cupped his fists and greeted him. Brother Firmament, you said there was something important. May I know what it is? Lu Ming went straight to the point. There is a great opportunity that I want to share with Brother Lu. Firmament smiled. There is a great opportunity that you want to share with me? Lu Ming's lips curled into an inexplicable smile. If there was really a great opportunity, why would Firmament share it with Lu Ming? Would he be so kind? Unless Firmament couldn't handle it himself and needed Lu Ming's help. Firmament remained calm and said, I wonder if Brother Lu has heard of the Origin Divine Tea? Origin Divine Tea. Lu Ming's expression suddenly changed. Origin Divine Tea only exists in legends. Is there really such a miraculous medicine in the world? Lu Ming couldn't help but ask. The origin of a legend is often true. It's just that too much time has passed, or perhaps the majority of people have never seen it before. That's why it became a legend. Divine Origin Tea naturally exists, but it's just too rare. However, not long ago I discovered traces of it. Firmament Path. Really? Where is it? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. He had naturally heard of the Origin Divine Tea. It could allow a 9th-tier Divine Master to quickly break through and reach the peak of the Divine Master realm. To reach the peak of the Divine Master realm from the 9th-tier Divine Master realm, one had to slowly accumulate the power of Origin. It was very difficult to do so overnight. Even though Lu Ming had a clear understanding of the origin in the cosmic sea and his speed of comprehending the origin was dozens or even hundreds of times faster than ordinary people, it would still take a long time to break through. However, the Origin Divine Tea could directly skip this process in a short time. Once he obtained the Origin Divine Tea, his cultivation would quickly break through to the peak of the Divine Master realm. Once his cultivation reached the peak of the Divine Master realm, who below the origin would be his match? At that time, wouldn't he be invincible in Purple Heaven Hollow? Even if there were many experts in the Forbidden Land, he wouldn't be afraid. Wouldn't the treasures in the ancient city in the center be at his disposal? Not only him, but if he obtained enough Origin Divine Tea leaves, Xian Yanqing, Autumn Moon, and the others could also reach the peak of the Divine Master realm. Chapter 49-33. Now, there were still close to 8,500 years until the end of the Origin Tribulation. As long as they reached the peak of the Divine Lord realm, they could use these 8,000 years to consolidate and accumulate. With the help of top source-grade divine herbs, they might be able to reach the Origin realm after the Origin Tribulation. Thinking of this, even with Lu Ming's temperament, his heart couldn't help but beat faster. It's on this island, in a dark red mountain range. But there's an extreme Een corpse there. Firmament Path. It's that dark red mountain range. Lu Ming's expression changed. There was only one dark red mountain range where an extreme Een corpse lived, so Lu Ming naturally knew about it. There were 3 dark red regions on this island, all of which had extreme Een corpses and golden-eyed Een corpses guarding them. 2 of them were plains, while the last one was a mountain range. The Origin Divine Tea was actually in this region. This was troublesome. There was a golden-eyed Een corpse guarding it, as well as a large number of other extreme Een corpses. It wouldn't be easy to obtain the Origin Divine Tea in this region. That region has a golden-eyed Een corpse guarding it. The golden-eyed Een corpse is known as an extreme Een corpse king, and its battle strength is terrifying. Even divine lords might not be its match. Moreover, who knows how many extreme Een corpse kings there are in that region? It won't be easy to obtain the Origin Divine Tea. It's very dangerous, Lu Ming said. Actually, we don't have to fight to the death with the extreme Een corpse. The golden-eyed Een corpses and silver-eyed Een corpses here are extremely intelligent. We can cooperate with them. Firmament Path. Cooperate with the extreme Een corpse? How is that possible? The extreme Een corpse wants to kill all the outsiders that come here. Why would it cooperate with us? Lu Ming asked. It might not be impossible. Brother Lu, do you know why the extreme Een corpse wants to kill outsiders? Firmament Path. Lu Ming didn't say anything, waiting for the Firmament Path's answer. I've sent people back to my clan to look up more ancient books about the extreme Een corpse and obtained more information. According to that information, I speculate that the extreme Een corpse wants to kill outsiders because of the immortal's molting. Firmament Path. The molting of an immortal? Lu Ming was puzzled, not understanding what he meant. The molting of an immortal is a part of the essence left behind by an immortal after he passes away. It's a peerless treasure. Firmament Path. Lu Ming was stunned. Transcendents were also known as immortals. What kind of existences were they? In any case, Lu Ming found it hard to imagine. Anything that involved immortals was no small matter. Needless to say, it was a part of the immortal body's essence. It was simply a priceless treasure. There was an immortal's molting on this island? According to the latest information, the Absolute Een corpse should be produced by the Absolute Een tribe. The Absolute Een corpse is similar to the living beings of the three great forbidden lands. In the last era, it was also a living being of a terrifying forbidden land. I speculate that in the last era, the Purple Firmament Immortal Kingdom should have had a great battle with the Absolute Een tribe. Moreover, it was definitely an immortal-level battle. You should know that the Purple Firmament Immortal Kingdom had an immortal guarding it. If it wasn't for an immortal-level battle, the Purple Firmament Immortal Kingdom wouldn't have been destroyed. It is very likely that two immortal-level powerhouses had a great battle. In the end, both sides were injured and passed away, leaving behind the immortals molting. And the Absolute Een corpse of the Purple Firmament Grotto is very likely produced by the immortal-level powerhouse of the Absolute Een tribe. The blood of the immortal-level powerhouse of the Absolute Een tribe flows on the three dark red lands. The Tsongqiong Path shared his speculations with Qin Nan. Lu Ming's heart was in turmoil. This was because he felt that the Firmament Path's speculations were very logical and logical. He recalled that Gaishak had once mocked the golden-eyed Een corpse when he fought with it, saying that the golden-eyed Een corpse was of mixed blood. In other words, the Absolute Een corpse of the Purple Firmament Grotto was a member of the Purple Firmament Grotto. It was because of the immortal-level powerhouse of the Absolute Een tribe that it became an Absolute Een corpse. Its bloodline was naturally not pure, and it was not a true Absolute Een tribe member. Also, whether it was the Primordial Light tribe or the Baleful Een tribe, they knew the weakness of the Absolute Een corpse. Even without the blue firestone, they could easily defeat the Absolute Een corpse. If the Absolute Een tribe was also a creature of the Forbidden Land, then it made sense. They knew each other better. All the clues came together, and the things that he did not understand in the past suddenly became clear. I think that the ancient city is the place where the immortal-level powerhouses fought. The immortal's molting is also there. If the Absolute Een corpse wants to obtain the immortal's molting of the Absolute Een tribe member, it will naturally chase away outsiders. They are afraid that outsiders will snatch the immortal's molting from them. But now, the creatures of the Forbidden Land have gathered. There are many powerhouses, and their strength is completely above the Absolute Een corpse. With the creatures of the Forbidden Land, it will be difficult for the Absolute Een corpse to obtain the immortal's molting. As long as we agree to help the Absolute Een corpse and help them obtain the immortal's molting, it will not be difficult to cooperate with them. The Firmament Path. Lu Ming nodded. He had to admit that what Firmament said was very reasonable. Those who could command the Quasi-Saint tribe were not simple. Firmament was extremely intelligent and was definitely not inferior to him. How are we going to split the divine origin tea? You seem to have only brought one piece of news, but I have to risk my life, Lu Ming said indifferently. I don't want much. I only want one divine origin tea leaf. The firmament path. Only one. Lu Ming was stunned. Firmament's request was so low? One divine origin tea leaf is enough for me to break through to the peak of the divine master realm. More is useless. However, the divine origin tea leaf is not that easy to obtain. My request is that no matter how many divine origin tea leaves you obtain, you have to give me at least one. Even if you only obtain one divine origin tea leaf, you have to give me one. I don't want more, but I want at least one. Firmament repeatedly emphasized. But Lu Ming agreed. Even if Firmament obtained the divine origin tea leaf and broke through to the peak of the divine master realm, Lu Ming would not care. Given Firmament's talent, even if he broke through to the peak of the divine master realm, his battle strength would only be equivalent to the Guangqin imperial envoy. He would not reach the level of an invincible divine master. Lu Ming did not care about anyone who was not an invincible divine master. The two discussed for a while and agreed to take action half a day later. After Lu Ming, Dandan, and Bubbles returned, they discussed with the others. When the others heard about it, they were dumbfounded. After making a final deduction, they felt that there was no problem and set off together. Firmament was already waiting for them at the edge of the dark red mountain range. In addition to Firmament, there were dozens of quasi-saint tribe members. Except for the Guangqin imperial envoy, the rest should be able to set up a joint attack formation. The divine origin tea should still be hiding in this mountain range and hasn't left. The firmament path. There was a huge mountain range in front of them. It was located on the ground and covered a huge area. A dense and cold aura was constantly emitted from it. Bubbles, go in and check it out. If you find the divine origin tea, don't act rashly. Inform us first and wait for us to act together. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Bubbles. Chapter 49-34. Letting Bubble investigate first was to avoid alerting the Extreme Een Corpse. If the Extreme Een Corpse was alerted at the start, it would be difficult to find the origin divine tea without alerting anyone. Even if the Extreme Een Corpse was alerted, it would also alert the origin divine tea and cause it to escape. If the origin divine tea escaped, it would be difficult to find it again. Leave it to me. Bubbles' figure disappeared after saying that. Using the power of time and space, it entered the dark red mountain range. Lu Ming and the others waited quietly in place. The dark red mountain range covered a large area. If the origin divine tea was hidden within, it would be very difficult to find it. Without some time, it would be impossible to find it. In the blink of an eye, 5 days passed. Bubble returned after 5 days. I found it. I found the origin divine tea. It's hidden in a valley in the dark red mountain range. Bubble said. But, Bubble, I'll have to trouble you to use the power of time and space to help us hide and enter the dark red mountain range. Lu Ming said. No problem. However, with so many people, my power of time and space will be too scattered. The effect will be greatly reduced. I'm not sure if I can hide it from the Extreme Een Corpse. Bubble said. Do your best. I'll get Dandan to work with you. Lu Ming said. Dandan placed a formation on each person's body to hide their blood energy. After all, the Extreme Een Corpse was very sensitive to blood energy. It couldn't detect non-blood energy life forms like Bone Demon and Qiuqiu. The Extreme Een Corpse also couldn't detect plant life forms. That was why the origin divine tea was hidden here. After Dandan placed a formation on each person's body, Bubble used the power of time and space to envelop everyone. After making the preparations, they flew into the sky and headed towards the dark red mountain range. Sure enough, after flying for a while, they didn't alert the Extreme Een Corpse. This made everyone happy. They increased their speed. After a while, it's in the valley in front. Bubble said in a low voice as it pointed ahead. There was a huge valley in front of them. The stone walls on both sides were smooth as if they had been cut by a blade. The origin divine tea was in this valley. Everyone's heartbeat quickened. Once they obtained the origin divine tea, they would be able to break through to the peak of the divine master realm. Song Qiong's eyes became even more heated. Right at this moment, whoosh! A beam of light suddenly flew out of the canyon and fled into the distance at an astonishing speed. The plant was less than a meter tall, and its leaves were as clear as jade. Divine Source Tea. Everyone was shocked. This was clearly divine origin tea. Needless to say, they had been discovered. The sensitivity of the divine origin tea had exceeded their expectations. Chase! Lu Ming shouted in a low voice as he rushed out. At this moment, Xiao Chen could no longer care about hiding. If he continued hiding, the origin god tea would escape. The others also raised their speed to the limit and chased after the divine origin tea. As such, their auras could no longer be concealed, and they were immediately discovered by the absolute Yin corpse underground. Roar, roar, roar. A series of low roars sounded out as the ground shook. A large number of extreme Yin corpses rushed out of the ground and pounced towards Lu Ming and the others. Stop them! Firmament shouted. With a wave of his hand, he shot out long needles made of blue firestones. The other quasi-saint tribe members that Firmament had brought along also shot out blue firestones. The ordinary extreme Yin corpses were instantly stopped by the blue firestones. However, the roars from all directions became more and more intense. More and more extreme Yin corpses appeared and pounced towards the group. Kill all these outsiders! An angry roar sounded out from a silver-eyed Yin corpse. The silver-eyed Yin corpse had intelligence and could speak. It could even cultivate and control other extreme Yin corpses. More and more extreme Yin corpses rushed towards the group. Xian Yanqing, Guo, and the others all took action. They all shot out blue firestone's weapons and blocked the extreme Yin corpses that were rushing over. Of course, there were many extreme Yin corpses that were comparable to the strongest existence, the Lord of Heaven. They had a strong resistance to blue firestones. They rushed through the blue firestone fog and continued to charge towards Lu Ming and the others. Xian Yanqing, Guo, and the others all took out weapons with blue firestones and charged forward to block the extreme Yin corpses. At the same time, Gu Changfeng also took action. He shot out a Genesis art. Terrifying fist force surged out and sent dozens of powerful extreme Yin corpses flying. Lu Ming and Bubbles did not take action. Bubbles used the space-time force to support Lu Ming and quickly chased after the divine origin tea. The divine origin tea's speed was extremely shocking. It was even faster than top-tier origin-grade divine herbs. Lu Ming's speed alone was not enough to catch up. He had to rely on Bubbles' space-time force to catch up to the divine origin tea. The distance between him and the divine origin tea was getting closer and closer. Kill! An earth-shattering roar was heard as a violent baleful Yin chi gushed out in all directions. A golden-eyed extreme Yin corpse charged towards Lu Ming at an astonishing speed. It was a golden-eyed Yin corpse, an extreme Yin corpse king. Not only that, but there were also 6 silver-eyed Yin corpses and a large number of other extreme Yin corpses. Such a lineup was absolutely terrifying. Set up the formation, stop them. Firmament roared. The quasi-saints he had brought with him set up a joint attack formation to fight against the extreme Yin corpses. Lu Ming, leave this golden-eyed Yin corpse to me. You continue chasing after the divine origin tea. Gu Changfeng transmitted a message to Lu Ming. His figure flashed as he charged towards the golden-eyed Yin corpse. Bright moon wind fist. Origin energy surged as he punched out. The void exploded into nothingness as the fist force rushed towards the golden-eyed Yin corpse with earth-shattering force. This punch possessed the battle strength of an unrivaled divine master. It also possessed the battle strength to injure the golden-eyed corpse king. The golden-eyed corpse king did not dare to be careless. He brandished the tattered battle blade in his hand and slashed out a pitch-black blade light to block Gu Changfeng's fist force. Soon after, 1 man and 1 corpse began to fight. Joint attack formation. When Gu Changfeng attacked, Lion, Xian Yanqing, Autumn Moon and the others also began to set up the formation. A ferocious black-armored warrior condensed. Without Bubble, they only had 11 people to set up the formation. The joint attack formation was not perfect, but its battle strength was still very strong. It was not a big problem to block a few silver-eyed Een corpses. However, there were 7 silver-eyed Een corpses in total. It was not a perfect joint attack formation, so it was impossible to block so many silver-eyed Een corpses. There were still a few that continued to charge towards Lu Ming. Desolation style. Lu Ming struck out with his palm. A piece of land formed and charged vertically towards the silver-eyed Een corpses. As for himself, because of the thrust of this palm, his speed became a little faster and he rushed towards the divine origin T even faster. Soon, Lu Ming and Bubble worked together and increased their speed to the maximum. The distance between them and the divine origin T was constantly closing. They could even faintly smell the rich medicinal fragrance of the divine origin T. Just the medicinal fragrance alone shook Lu Ming's mind. The origin energy of the origin seed became somewhat restless. Chapter 49-35. The divine origin tea was truly extraordinary. Just the smell of it had caused such a great reaction. If the tea leaves were used to brew tea, the effects would be heaven-defying. The divine origin tea was not only useful for breaking through to Peak God Lord, but it was also useful for breaking through to origin. Moreover, if origin realm existences frequently used the tea leaves to brew tea, it would be greatly beneficial to their cultivation. If they could raise a single divine origin tea, it would be a priceless treasure. Lu Ming did not just want to obtain the tea leaves, but he wanted to take the entire divine origin tea. They were getting closer and closer to the divine origin tea. Bubble attack. Lu Ming shouted in a low voice. Space-time power. Bubble had been prepared for this for a long time. She thrust out her small, white hands, and space-time power permeated the air, enveloping the divine origin tea. The divine origin tea's fleeing figure stiffened for a moment. A good chance. Lu Ming's eyes lit up as he reached out with his claw. Forbidden energy erupted, forming a giant hand that reached for the divine origin tea. The giant hand descended, seemingly about to grab the divine origin tea. However, the divine origin tea's ability to escape was truly extraordinary. At this critical moment, its entire body glowed and it broke free from the influence of the power of time and space. Its speed increased tremendously once again. With a swoosh, it dashed forward, dashing through the gaps between Lu Ming's fingers that were condensed. "You want to leave?" Say. Lu Ming's eyes narrowed as he roared. His hand trembled, sending a powerful energy toward the divine origin tea. With a plop, the force brushed against a branch of the divine origin tea. The branch violently shook, causing the tea leaves on it to fall off and scatter in the air. There were over a dozen divine origin tea leaves. However, the main body of the divine origin tea used this opportunity to charge forward like a bolt of lightning. Lu Ming and Bubbles dashed over and collected more than 10 origin god tea leaves. They then continued their pursuit of the origin god tea leaves. However, at this moment, Lu Ming's eyes narrowed. A figure had suddenly appeared in front of him. A woman, an absolute beauty. Princess Song Xian, or more accurately, Dark Night Rose. Dark Night Rose's body emitted a special aura, and a black rose bloomed above her head. The origin god tea had clearly discovered Dark Night Rose, but it didn't slow down in the slightest. Instead, it charged straight for her. He rushed into the rose on top of the Dark Night Rose's head and disappeared. What happened? Lu Ming was extremely puzzled. When the divine origin tea saw Dark Night Rose, it didn't run away. Instead, it rushed towards her. It was simply walking right into a trap. Lu Ming, thank you for helping me obtain the origin divine tea. I will remember this favor. Dark Night Rose smiled. At the same time, her body quickly retreated. As he retreated, his body split into 2, 2 into 4, and 4 into 8. In total, there were 8 figures. Each of the figures looked like the original body and had the exact same aura. 8 figures sprang into 8 different directions at a shocking speed. Damn it! Lu Ming stopped and didn't give chase. Even if he did, he didn't know which figure he should go after. He was very displeased. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Obviously, he had become the mantis, and Dark Night Rose had become the sparrow. However, he couldn't figure out why the origin god T didn't run away after seeing Dark Knight Rose. Instead, it rushed towards her. Could it be related to Dark Knight Rose's original body? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Dark Knight Rose's original body was the Sky Devourer Rose, which was also a kind of plant. From this point of view, it had the same origin as the origin god T. Seeing that Lu Ming was about to catch up with the origin god T, it made sense that it would run towards Dark Knight Rose, which was of the same origin as it. Dark Knight Rose had already disappeared without a trace. Lu Ming could only admit that he was unlucky. The key point was that Lu Ming still owed Dark Knight Rose a favor. He had sworn on his life source. Thinking that he still had to do something for Dark Knight Rose, Lu Ming felt very uncomfortable. Behind them, Gu Changfeng and the others were still fighting with the extreme Yin corpse. Several silver-eyed Yin corpses were rushing towards Lu Ming. They clawed out with their sharp claws and a sharp force tore at Lu Ming. "Get lost!" Lu Ming shouted and swept out his battle god spear. Bang! 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 Several silver-eyed Yin corpses were sent flying by Lu Ming. Then, Lu Ming and Bubbles quickly returned. Lu Ming charged towards the golden-eyed Yin corpse, while Bubbles charged towards Xian Yanqing and the others. They merged into the ferocious black-armored warrior and set up a formation with Xian Yanqing and the others. The perfect combination formation was set up and its power increased greatly. It suppressed the silver-eyed Yin corpses in an instant. Lu Ming and Gu Changfeng joined forces and completely suppressed the golden-eyed Yin corpse. After a few moves, the golden-eyed Yin corpse was swept by Lu Ming's spear. It was knocked back and the thick black aura on its body dissipated by a lot. Kill. The golden-eyed Yin corpse roared and wanted to attack Lu Ming and the others. "I know that you want the immortal molt. We can work together." At this moment, Lu Ming spoke. The reason why they didn't mention working together before was because they knew that the extreme Yin corpse or the golden-eyed Yin corpse wouldn't listen to them before they displayed enough strength. Without strength, how could they work together? They would probably be torn apart by the extreme Yin corpse. But now, Lu Ming and the others had displayed overwhelming strength. At least in terms of peak strength, Lu Ming and the others had the upper hand. If they mentioned it now, the other party would have to consider it. Sure enough, after hearing Lu Ming's words, the golden-eyed Yin corpse's golden eyes flickered and the black aura on its body fluctuated violently. "How do you know about the immortal molt?" the golden-eyed Yin corpse asked. "You don't have to worry about this. I promise you that as long as we work together, we will try our best to help you obtain the immortal molt. How about it?" Lu Ming said loudly. "Stop!" The golden-eyed Yin corpse's eyes turned and then roared. All the extreme Yin corpses suddenly stopped and quickly retreated behind the golden-eyed Yin corpse, forming a square formation. "Is what you said true?" The golden-eyed Yin corpse stared at Lu Ming and asked. His intelligence was very high and was no different from other living beings. Lu Ming and Gu Changfeng's combat strength wasn't below his. It wouldn't do him any good to continue fighting. He might as well listen to what Lu Ming had to say. Of course, if Lu Ming and the others weren't strong enough, he wouldn't bother listening to their nonsense and would directly tear them apart. Of course it's true. I know that the extreme Yin tribe's immortal molt is in that ancient city. You want to obtain the immortal molt to evolve your bloodline. Lu Ming continued. Chapter 49-36. Hearing Lu Ming's words, the black aura around the golden-eye Yin corpse fluctuated again. Lu Ming knew that the information given by Tseng Qiong was right. However, it's impossible for you to obtain the immortal's molt. You and your subordinates are too weak. Believe it or not, the baleful Yin tribe, Yuan Guang tribe, and Tsang Ming tribe have all arrived. There are 6 of them who are no weaker than you. They are also eyeing the immortal's molt of the extreme Yin tribe. It's a fool's dream for you to snatch the immortal's molt from them alone. Lu Ming said bluntly. Even if I cooperate with you, it's still difficult to snatch the immortal molt from the 3 tribes. The golden-eye Yin corpse said. Our strength is naturally not enough. If we cooperate with the extreme Yin corpses in the other 2 regions, it might be possible. Lu Ming said. Cooperate with those guys? Impossible. Let me tell you, the three of us often fight and compete with each other. This time, all three of us want to obtain the immortal molt. Why would we cooperate? The Golden Eye corpse shook his head repeatedly. If you don't cooperate, the three of you can forget about obtaining the immortal molt. It's only possible if you cooperate. Moreover, after obtaining the immortal molt, the three of you can equally share the benefits. You don't have to fight to the death. Lu Ming said. The Golden Eye corpse was deep in thought. It was obvious that he was persuaded by Lu Ming. I can swear that I won't take anything from the extreme Yin tribe's immortal molt. It's all yours. Lu Ming added. I'm just afraid that the other guys won't agree. The Golden Eye corpse said hesitantly. As long as you explain the pros and cons, I believe that they will agree. Okay, I promise you. In the end, the Golden Eye corpse agreed. How many experts of your level are there in the three of you? Lu Ming asked. 4. The Golden Eye corpse gave a simple introduction. Of the 3 regions, 2 of them had a Golden Eye corpse overseeing them, and one of them had 2 Golden Eye corpses. This was the same as what Lu Ming knew. When Gaishak fought with the extreme Yin corpse in a certain area, 2 golden-eyed Yin corpses had appeared in that area. Lu Ming originally did not know the specific strength of these 3 areas and was afraid that there would be hidden golden eye Yin corpses. It seemed like he had overestimated the strength of the absolute Yin corpse. They immediately set out and headed towards the area that was only guarded by a single golden-eyed Yin corpse. They did not hide their auras and were discovered by the absolute Yin corpses the moment they arrived. A large number of absolute Yin corpses rushed out. However, these absolute Yin corpses did not attack. It was clear that there were large amounts of absolute Yin corpses beside Lu Ming's group. The absolute Yin corpses in this area were shocked and doubtful. The silver-eyed Yin corpses stopped the normal absolute Yin corpses from attacking. Saber Jew, I didn't expect you to mix with outsiders. There was a loud roar, and a wild aura surged out. The golden-eyed Yin corpse had appeared in this area. Saber Extinction was the name of the golden-eyed Yin corpse that had agreed to cooperate with Lu Ming. He held a pitch-black battle saber in his hand and named it after that. The golden-eyed Yin corpse in this area held a battle halberd. When its golden eyes swept over Lu Ming's group, they were filled with cold killing intent. When Lu Ming's group had just stepped onto this island, they had unintentionally stepped onto this dark red land and had clashed with the absolute Yin corpses here. Lu Ming even killed a silver-eyed Yin corpse and fought a great battle with a golden-eyed Yin corpse who was holding a halberd. This golden-eyed Yin corpse was filled with killing intent towards Lu Ming's group. It was normal. If Lu Ming and Saber Extinction were not standing together, he would have already ordered his subordinates to attack. Halberd Extinction, Lu Ming and I have already teamed up. I came to find you today because I hope we can work together. Saber Extinction said. Halberd Extinction was the name of this golden-eyed Yin corpse. Like Saber Extinction, it was named after the weapon it controlled. Their weapons were something they were born with ever since they gained sentience. Haha, Saber Extinction, you are actually teaming up with outsiders. Ridiculous. It is impossible for me to join forces with these outsiders. Halberd Extinction laughed. We were only trying to protect ourselves in the previous battle. Please forgive us if we have offended you. As for joining forces, it will be of great benefit to you. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said, Haha, what benefit will it bring me? Halberd Extinction sneered. It can help you obtain the immortal molting. Lu Ming said. Halberd Extinction's eyes suddenly flickered a few times. I can obtain the immortal molting myself. Why should I join forces with you? Halberd Extinction said stubbornly. In the current situation, it is impossible for you to obtain the immortal molting alone. Not to mention other things, you can't compete with Sword Extinction and Fist Extinction. Not to mention, there are 6 experts from the Baleful Yin race, Primordial Light race and Blue Sea race who are not weaker than you. Lu Ming said bluntly. Halberd Extinction fell into silence. Evidently, he knew that Lu Ming was telling the truth. There were too many experts from all sides. He could not even compete with the other extreme Yin corpses on his side. How could he compete with the creatures from the forbidden areas? To be honest, you can't obtain the immortal molting of the extreme Yin race alone. Only by joining forces can we obtain the immortal molting. You can also get a part of it. Lu Ming continued. If you want to cooperate with me, you have to see if you have the qualifications. Halberd Extinction said. Lu Ming smiled. He knew that Halberd Extinction had been persuaded. He exchanged a look with Gu Changfeng. Then, Gu Changfeng took a step forward and punched Extreme Halberd with his Genesis technique, Bright Moon Wind Fist. The violent fist force made Halberd Extinction's expression turn grave. He hurriedly waved his halberd to block Gu Changfeng's fist force, but his body was forced back 2 steps. Do you have the qualifications to join forces with me? Lu Ming asked with a smile. Halberd Extinction and Lu Ming had fought before, so he naturally knew how powerful Lu Ming was. Lu Ming and Gu Changfeng together were 2 invincible divine masters. Although they had fewer people, they were fully qualified to cooperate with him. Okay, I agree to cooperate with you. But if we want to compete with the evil Yin race, Yuanguang race and Songming race, we need to join forces with Sword Extinction and Fist Extinction. Halberd Extinction said. Sword Extinction and Fist Extinction were the 2 extreme Yin Corpse Kings in the 3rd area. The negotiation with the 2 Corpse Kings was unexpectedly smooth. When Lu Ming and the others explained their intentions, the 2 extreme Yin Corpse Kings agreed without much hesitation. This was normal. If they did not agree, how could they compete with the others? Let alone the creatures from the 3 forbidden areas, even Lu Ming and the others had 4 invincible divine masters. Only by joining forces would they benefit. The 2 sides hit it off and formed an alliance. Brother Lu, I need to find a place to go into seclusion and cultivate for a while. Lu Ming gave Song Qiong a piece of origin spirit tea according to their agreement. Then, Song Qiong said goodbye. Chapter 49-37. Song Qiong said goodbye. Obviously, Song Qiong wanted to raise his cultivation to the peak of the Divine Master Realm before the ancient city opened. Coincidentally, Lu Ming also had the same plan. This time, he had obtained a total of 15 Origin God Tea leaves. According to legend, a single leaf of the Origin God Tea was enough to allow a person to break through from the 9th level of the Divine Master Realm to the peak of the Divine Master Realm. He gave Song Qiong a piece, and there were still 14 pieces left. Among them, Xian Yanqing, Autumn Moon, Ling Yue, Wan Shen, Dandan, Bubbles, Tang Jun, and himself, there were a total of 8 people, all of whom were 9th level Divine Masters. Each of them needed 1 Origin God Tea leaf, and there were 6 more. Even if Lu Ming had a mysterious power and needed a lot of resources to break through, 1 leaf might not be enough, so he would get 2. If 2 were not enough, then he would get 3. 7 leaves should be enough. Lu Ming and the 4 extreme Yin Corpse Kings agreed that once the ancient city's formation was broken, they would rush in together. Then, they planned to leave and find a place to cultivate in seclusion. However, before Lu Ming and the others could leave, something happened. Boom! An earth-shattering explosion sounded. The earth and the void shook crazily as if there was an earthquake with a magnitude of more than 10. The ground under Lu Ming's feet shook violently. What happened? Look over there. At the center of the island, a purple-golden light soared into the sky and dyed the entire sky purple-golden. It's that ancient city, Dandan exclaimed. Could it be that the ancient city's formation has been broken and is about to open? Xian Yanqing said. It seems that all the treasures in the Qi channels have been dug out. The ancient city's formation has no energy to maintain, so something abnormal has happened. Gu Mo said. It's about to open. The real immortal kingdom is about to open. I can feel a strong and pure extreme Yin Qi. It's the immortal Qi. The extreme Yin Corpse Kings looked in the direction of the ancient city with fiery eyes. Lu Ming and the others frowned. They could indeed feel a shocking Qi coming from the ancient city. This Qi was like the might of the heavens, high and mighty, looking down on all living things, making Lu Ming and the others feel a great pressure. However, Lu Ming took a closer look and discovered that there were 2 auras mixed in this aura. Both of them were extremely terrifying. "Let's go and take a look," Lu Ming said. Without needing him to speak, the 4 extreme Yin corpse kings had already charged towards the ancient city with the extreme Yin corpses. Lu and the others followed closely behind. Soon, they were close to the ancient city. The ancient city's heavens, heavenly divine light, heavenly God, the heavenly Tao, heavens, heavenly to the ancient city, heavenly heavens, to the heavens, heavenly to Ming and the heavens. It seems that the ancient city's formation is completely maintained by the 9 qi veins. Otherwise, it would have already collapsed. Now that the 9 qi veins have no more resources, the formation will naturally not be able to maintain itself. Dandan explained. Roar, roar. There were at least a few thousand extreme Yin corpses around. They were very excited and kept roaring, the sound waves spreading out like waves. On the other side of the ancient city, there were many figures. They were the evil Yin race, primordial light race, and Song Ming race. Leading them were Gaishak, Lord of the Underworld, Yuan Wuji, Yuan Liuji, Prince Kanglo, and Prince Tsongqing, the 6 invincible divine lord experts. However, Princess Tsongxian, Dark Night Rose, was nowhere to be seen. Moreover, the number of beings in the Forbidden Grounds had decreased by a lot. There were only about 1,000 of them in total. These 1,000 or so creatures were all experts. Most of them were able to set up joint attack formations. Those with weaker cultivation bases and battle prowess were not here. The beings in the Forbidden Grounds naturally heard the roars of the extreme Yin corpses. "It's those extreme Yin bastards," Gaishak harumphed coldly. "From the sounds, the number is shocking. Looks like the extreme Yin corpses in the 3 regions have teamed up. Let's not worry about these extreme Yin corpses for now," Yuan Wuji and the others said. Even they were a little wary of so many extreme Yin corpses. Moreover, they did not know that Lu Ming and the others were already with the extreme Yin corpses. The barrier on the ancient city disappeared quickly. In less than an hour, it was almost completely gone. "I didn't expect the ancient city to open at this time. This is really not the right time." Lu Ming sighed inwardly. They had just obtained the origin god tea leaves and were preparing to use them to break through their cultivation. They did not expect the ancient city to open at this time. There was no time left. If they were a few months later, their cultivation might have broken through. However, if they were to break through now, the treasures in the ancient city would have been taken away by the beings in the Forbidden Grounds. Xian Yanqing, Dandan, and the others also sighed. "There are no more formation ripples." After a while, Dandan said. "Go, try it." Jianju roared. Instantly, a few extreme Yin corpses charged out toward the ancient city. Without causing any abnormalities, the few extreme Yin corpses charged into the ancient city from the city walls. There were no more formations, nor were there any air-sealing domains. "Follow me into the city. Follow me." The 4 extreme Yin corpse kings led their subordinates and charged into the ancient city. "Let's go too," Lu Ming said. They also followed the large group of extreme Yin corpses and charged into the ancient city. However, their bodies were filled with energy and they were ready to attack at any time. Once they noticed that the situation was not right, they would immediately retreat. However, they were overthinking. There were no abnormalities and they successfully entered the ancient city. When they entered the ancient city, they discovered that the void in front of them was constantly extending. "This is spatial folding," Bubbles said. "Yes, spatial folding. From the outside, the ancient city looked very majestic, but the area should not be very large. However, when they entered the ancient city, they discovered that the area of the ancient city was shockingly large. This was spatial folding. This was the real Zixiao immortal kingdom. They stood in the sky and looked down. The ground was densely packed with buildings that stretched as far as the eye could see. From this, one could see how prosperous the Zixiao immortal kingdom was. Unfortunately, these buildings were all dilapidated. No, not only were they dilapidated, they were almost flattened. There were broken walls and tiles everywhere, and the ground was full of potholes. There were also cracks that seemed to be caused by divine weapons. There were even corpses lying on the ground, as well as all kinds of broken divine weapons and broken armors. This was clearly a battlefield. There were traces of a great battle everywhere. A great battle happened in this ancient city. Dandan whispered, his voice revealing his shock. Be careful, there are many corpses here. Don't turn into extreme Yin corpses. Lu Ming transmitted his voice to Xian Yanqing, Qiu Yu and the others. He did not let the other extreme Yin corpses hear him. Immortal molting, immortal molting. At this moment, the 4 extreme Yin corpse kings, including the silver-eyed Yin corpses, were looking straight ahead with fiery eyes. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.